with the Faceless Void now, so you've got some damage in Chrono. I'm actually considering maybe that might not be correct. I think it's usually the 5-inch for these guys. We also have a lot of ET players on the likes of Team Empire themselves. Actually, their support pools are pretty similar, as is kind of the norm, I would say, for this meta, at least earlier on in the meta as it continues to develop. We're seeing lots of Lions, lots of ETs actually, lots of Tusks. Snapfire is a bit of a newer addition. I think we're going to see a little bit less and less of her because of the nerfs that were not huge, but I think are going to be starting to play out a little bit more as we find stronger and stronger supports.
Sure, I agree. The Enchanter surprised that it's coming back into this region. He's kind of a staple of the region, particularly Mipolska.
ETs actually, lots of Tusks. Snapfire.
Actually, Roger for the longest time was also a big Enchantress player because she's similar to Chen, and we all know this region loves Chen, but I'm surprised they still bring her back. I don't know if the meta is really... I want to point out a hero though from Empire that I love. It's the Gyrocopter. Smiling Knight's one of his best heroes, honestly. That Gyrocopter never gets to play it though, because the meta hasn't favored him for a while. This meta I thought would be better. I think it's much more viable, so Empire is trying to pick it up once in a while. But I'm surprised though that they picked a Void into it. Roger for the longest time was also a pretty decent hero against Void, because of the Ags and actually being able to go for the Pasture build on this ranged hero. Just rare, but was seen even before the Abyssal buff, where you could blink with it. The Faceless Void kind of struggles against Gyro in the mid late game, and that's something that really benefits Empire coming into this.
He does, and we've got actually two methods. We've got two methods of saving already Gyrocopter if he is in a Chronosphere. So Chronos from Watson, although it's one of his more favorite heroes, are going to be a bit difficult for him. He can't just always get Gyrocopter right on the edge of a Chronosphere, because Snapfire with an X can gobble him up and spit him out of the Chrono.
True.
Tusk, if it's on the edge, can always snowball and help out. Even Tiny can kind of run interference with a nice avalanche into the Chronosphere to prevent Faceless Void from doing a lot of damage. It's not always going to cut it though, because again, we have combos already with the Chronosphere that don't exactly 100% rely on Faceless Void doing 100% of the damage, specifically being the Earth Splitter, a little bit of the Enchantress impetus damage as well outside of the Chrono.
You know what the Tiny is also pretty good against the Void is that he can actually toss his teammates, Void's teammate, into the Chrono.
Ah, that's true.
And if the game is going badly, he can also toss his own teammates into the Chrono if he really feels like it. But that's a great way to actually stop, particularly these melee heroes that have a hard time positioning themselves around Chrono, like for example Slardar, as he was able to hit, right? As you said, you made an analysis already. It's very difficult for him to get the follow-up or for him to cut the enemy lines, and Tiny can really take advantage of this with a nice little toss. And Slardar could be vulnerable to the call down, Mortimer's Kisses, and now Poison Nova apparently. The ultimate counter to the Void, the Venomancer offlane.
I agree. I think it's obviously a counter because Faceless Void sucks to lane against versus any melees, but it especially sucks as Faceless Void because it kind of forces you to go for a less farm efficient build. You gotta pretty much, if you want to stay in the lane longer than 10 minutes or longer than really 5 minutes, you have to max, it feels like, the time walk, right? To get that cooldown down from 24 all the way to ideally 16 or maybe even 8 seconds so you can continue CSing. Otherwise, I know it just does way too much consistent damage over time to you. Faceless Void, it's exactly what he hates. So they're going to throw Dendy on the Queen of Pain in the mid lane. He's got that Arcana, so that is not Vengeful Spirit. There's a Queen of Pain. We'll be laning versus the Tiny of Depressed Kid.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to ask you right now. I'm not sure, because usually Queen of Pain is all about that magical damage for the most part. Tiny can tank that nicely, but I suppose that between the Shadow Strike slow and the fact that Queen of Pain is ranged, you can harass a fair amount and kick him out of lane. I can imagine that lane does go well for Queen of Pain, at least according to Bait,
5 seconds remaining.
The only issue I have is in the mid game, where you can just blink and avatar the Queen of Pain, and not much you can do against that glow combo, and that should be enough time for something else to finish her off, right?
Yeah, very true. And even if we're not using that combo for the Queen of Pain specifically, it's not like it's weak this game, right? We've got Enchantress who's going to die pretty much every single time Tiny looks at her. We've got ET, who as well it can be very vulnerable to the mini stuns out from Tiny, the stuns out from the Snapfire, the Tusk, the Gyrocopter. Very, very annoying. Needs to get a really good position in his team fights. Channeling that X Stomp as well in the lane for TSA might not be too easy. So I'd be curious as to what build he's going to want to go for. But we've got a really strong top lane as well, actually, against Bates. And I think that's going to be possibly one of their biggest weaknesses, at least one of the more glaring ones as it develops into the early game. Because Slardar ET is a lane that if you are melee or if you want to play within melee range, if that's your strength, these guys are going to kick your butt. But Team Empire don't need to do that. They've got a Gyro who doesn't have the best range in the game, but he's pretty good at playing in melee range nonetheless. And a snap there, position 5 with the cookie to help save his Gyro as well. So it's really, really tough situation for Bait. I feel like they tried to draft themselves a very strong offlane, and Team Empire didn't let them have it.
I would agree with that, because I think Slark can somewhat deal with a Gyro. You have to be really so you can spread the rocket barrage down. But if the aggro's the creep, it's much more damage than you, right? You being melee, if it's like a... I think there are ways to play this lane, but I do agree that it's definitely not going to be the strong lane you expected, for sure. And I feel like there's a bit of an advantage for Empire here. I'm wondering if Empire will still go for a little Shredder build. If that's the case, the Titan does not have too much base armor, but it's fine. Titan does kind of struggle, especially with Gyro 20.
Yeah, that's a good point. Gyro, of course, not really famous for his base damage. In fact, most of his skills early on from his abilities. That's why he was played so much as a support in the last patch. People were like, what if we just didn't take creep?
Or even mid, right? Where it's all about the experience rather than the goal.
Definitely. So I'd be curious to see actually play that top lane, because I think if we do want to consider alternate builds, I don't think so, because Slark started off with the Blightstone. Maybe this is a lane where you want to experiment a little bit and go with the magic damage, right? And just go for overwhelming magic damage. I see a lot of synergy here between the Stat Blast slow and of course Gyrocopter's AoE damage around him.
I agree.
But we'll probably still Shredder. I think that's kind of the preferred. What I did want to say, though, real quick, is I think, in my opinion, Queen Pain is one of the best, if not the best rotator in all of Dota, at least from the mid lane, because she's got a way to close the gap and great AoE pure damage nuke. And if a Queen of Pain is rotating to your lane, no matter what game you're playing, you're probably going to want to dodge that. Whereas maybe playing versus Puck and Emperor Storm, there's some counterplay here. Now, Queen of Pain, it exists, you know, if you have the Hex or something like that, but overall, I think Dandy could have a lot of impact, is basically the point I'm trying to make here on a hero like the Queen of Pain. Of course, countered by rotation Tiny, who we've already kind of gone through. Dandy is going to be pretty vulnerable to the Avatos combo, so I'd be interested in seeing how the press kid, if he is going to counter-rotate, you know, if Dandy's missing up the map, if he's going to TP preemptively, make these sort of rotations to try and counter this early momentum Dandy can bring his team.
I can see what you mean with Queen of Pain. Like, if you imagine like what was the mid laner, the Queen of Pain or Puck, very basic laners in Dota.
TSA top lane.
TSA by here, Sayu attack. Not attacking the body block from what? Oh wow. I mean, they don't deserve this kill. They do not deserve. They stopped attacking TSA to tackle Watson instead, being super greedy. And TSA survives towards the end. Nice body block by Watson, utilizing the vision there effectively, right?
Yeah.
He blocked their vision as he went to the trees. Smart.
Very nice. But traditional mid laners, right?
Yeah, so the Queen of Pain being a traditional mid laner, much like Puck, right? I would say that Void Spirit might be a better rotator because he has everything and more, I'd say. Like the upgraded version of Queen of Pain. But I agree with your point. She has a little bit of everything, always useful in any stage of the game. Has really nice flexibility as a hero. I think it's honestly quite viable occasionally on her nowadays, which cut lanes and, you know, be more defensive. I do like the pick overall. I just see the Tiny as a potential counter in the mid game because of lack of ability. I think Puck is better in that regard.
Oh. So getting clapped by the Hellbear Smasher there. He was going to try and run after Sayu, get some damage in, but I think with 130, he's not going to be too interested in that tag. Back up in 10. I think you make a fair point. I think Void's up there for sure, but the only reason I say Queen of Pain's better is I think a lot of the times Void can be conditioned on the mid lane matchup to go for maybe a build that's not going to make him such a great ganker. Whereas very rarely that's the case for Queen of Pain. Right?
I mean, all her builds are good for gank.
Exactly. I think Pain, because she's a little bit more simple on surface level, but has, of course, lots of intricacies, is, I think, positioning her in the top 3, I would say, of best gankers in the game. So
I would agree. I mean, what the point is for this game is that she does need to create this pressure, especially towards the bottom lane, where started
definitely
change that they made, right? Because they put the Enchantress to step ahead of the ET, as we were explaining. ET is doing a decent job up top, and the Enchantress can at least mitigate the snap. So this is helping Bait a fair amount in the early game. However, we are still seeing Limitless struggle so much. And I would say the same thing actually about poor Watson, who, despite a great body block, is still equal in terms of last hits with the Venomancer, and with less denies than him as well.
Yeah, this lane is just, it's so difficult for him. Again, Petushara on the Veno just carries everything that he hates. It was first point in the Gale, of course, to try and get first blood. They unfortunately just missed out on it, as you've recalled already. But Poison Sting is really what you want versus Watson, and it just kind of makes his life a living hell. All that damage over time that he can't get rid of, that he's going to have to time walk over. He's going to consider what to point the third skill point into, and this is going to really determine how he wants to play the rest of this early game. Like, does he want to try and just rush the Mask of Madness and just recover in the jungle, maybe with the time lock build instead, or is he going to try and just suffer through the pain? There it is, second point in time walk he's committed for.
Okay, that's good. I think that's the best idea because Watson understands that. Like, time walk doesn't help you farm that much. If it was like a farming ability on top of fighting, you'd be like, okay, but it's really just laning.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I feel like time walk is better. And since Veno has not gone for Plague Wards either, which sometimes they deviate towards it, they feel really cocky, then time dilation is also not very useful in lane. Sometimes it can be a way to shut down a Veno, but not this way. It's just so annoying. It's disgusting, this matchup, and Watson is... I mean, at least he's still going to be useful with the Chrono alone. The thing is, you don't have that much of a Chrono combo, right? It's really just Earth Split. Maybe you add the Sonic Wave. But it's not like you need a Chrono to set up Sonic Wave.
Yeah, you've got a good point. I would say, like, the only counterpoint I have to that is the cores that we want to be killing right now for Team Empire. You know, like, if we can kill Tiny, that's fine. But as long as you deny Tiny kills, it's almost as effective as killing him. Maybe even more.
Because he has to do a lot early. You're right. Yeah.
Exactly. Who you want to be killing is a Gyro and maybe even the Venomancer, right? Your space makers and then the man that wants to be farming. You want to kill Gyro specifically this game because it's going to give Faceless Void, who's having obviously a terrible time top lane. So is TSA. Just ask him. Getting just killed. Denied though, by Watson. But that tag team level 2 was doing quite the number on him.
Yeah, but he used it to his advantage there because it does actually affect anyone who's attacking the hero, right? Including your allies, and because he had Poison Nova on top of him. That was really clever, actually. Huh? He got it denied before they expected it. Well, but Watson doesn't get any last hits, so...
Exactly. Yeah, like he last hits his teammate, but that's one of 16 he has this game, right? That's not a whole lot. And if you compare this to the Gyrocopter, who's doing a bit better, 23 and 9, he's having a fun time here. We need to kind of level the playing field, right? And I think targeting Gyro for these ganks, who is relatively easy to catch with one stun, plus anything else, is going to be pretty nice of a kill. And I think Watson is going to end up thanking you for it and repaying the favor later down the line.
Sure. We'll see what's happening in the other lanes. I'm interested because I think Watson just has to recover for such a long time anyway, and Venom will fall off the bottom. Yeah, bottom lane, this is where the action's at right now. We are seeing the opportunity with the bash to just finish him off. No fear. Fair amount of damage thanks to that impetus, and the Hellbear Smash is one of the strongest creeps early if you just want to deal damage you need against the Grandma. And honestly, 20 lasses for this lane, being as bad as it is not too terrible for Slardar. He can still be an initiator in the mid game. It is really all up to Dempsey though, right? Which is like the perfect game for him.
Yeah, actually, I've been taking a look at some of Dendy's stats here on Bates.
Yep.
Of course, we've had a lot of Watson top lane. He's going to need to get denied here. Time walking. No, he needs to get denied. There he is. Okay. TSA will happily climb in as Dendy's ganking bottom very quickly. Dendy on bait so far has something like a 23% win rates of all the matches played. Of course, he's been on every single iteration, but the games that they win, he usually is balling out of control on. So could use one of those games as he'll try to go down bottom, but the cookie out from Vanscoor is going to give enough space for Smiling Knight to dodge anything incoming. Here's the Press Kid with a counter rotation, just looking at No Fear, running for his life as the Crush will not connect onto anyone. No kill there with the homing missile, but the Press Kid will toss the tree and find a kill. Dendy's still holding on to the Sonic Wave here, but no one really within the kill threshold, so it's not really going to be able to get anything here, unless Limitless can make something happen.
He's trying against Vanscoor, but Vanscoor not really cutting the tree appropriately there. Sonic Wave for the Gyrocopter, and okay, that was way too close for him. Slither Crush available for Vanscoor. With the creeps, they're going to finish him off. They overstepped their boundaries, and Dendy was just patiently waiting there, hoping to get the Gyrocopter kill. Not bad, actually. Nice little rotation at the end as they do manage to get the carry, which is what you were asking. However, Tiny does get a kill. So worrisome as he now closes in on the Blink.
Exactly, because as soon as he does get this Blink Dagger, it makes your game a lot harder to play. Dendy even, especially for him, right, is going to be possibly in the line of fire very constantly. Smiling is going to TP right back bottom. They're going to get it with a root though, Limitless underneath the tier 1 tower. Got good damage, good cookie there onto Dendy, who stuck around as Seiyu was trying to rotate from behind, but Dendy with the TP forward. There's the kill on the Gyrocopter, and he gets the TP out in time. Vanscoor having missed the cookie, and Seiyu too late, didn't have the vision for the snowball. And they will not be able to punish Dendy. Nicely done. A second kill on Gyro is going to have to make the walk of shame back to the lane.
Yeah, no fear though. What's gonna happen to him? Because he's also in trouble. Never mind, no bash. Just literally whacked that grandma in the head. Sayu might be in trouble as well as there's a pace of bash. Just one more hit will do the trick. Goodbye to Sayu. Tiny still have a toss, but no Ava combo to go with it. And Starter just sees the opportunity. In fact, no way, Limitless. This might be a bit too far. Yeah, you need to back out. It is a Tiny. As soon as he gets Ava toss back again, he's dead. So, and to keep their distance and walk away. That play by Dendy, though, I feel like he did, because of the tip, I feel like he said, did you see that? He TP's out. Because that was quite incredible. I didn't think he was going to live there. He got the kill, and is playing aggressively, so it's a worthwhile trade. But being able to live from that is huge.
Yeah, and furthermore, he forces Tiny to stay bottom, right? Because now Tiny has got business being down bottom to make sure Gyro gets farmed, freeing up Dendy to just farm very easily here in the mid lane. Might consider pushing it a little bit, but the ward's going to scout Depress Kid coming back over to the mid lane, so he's probably going to go ahead and take it easy. Farm something else as, pardon me, looks like he is going to be going for the first item, Orchid.
Okay. All right. What do you think of this?
Orchid?
I don't see... Yeah, because I don't see anything that's like, wow, I really need to silence that immediately.
It's nice for the Tiny if you can jump him, right? Because then it kind of stops your counter initiation. It's nice.
Same with Gyro.
Same with Veno, I would say, right? Because if you want to blink onto a Veno before you can get the Gale out and start a fight, you know, I see
the Nova. Yeah.
The Nova, thank you. Sorry, yeah.
I can imagine that. I mean, I just don't see it as like the biggest item for Quap, but I'm also thinking, what else will she build, right?
It's not really a nice Yule's game. Just kind of sets you up for everything, right? This game.
TSA in the top lane, by the way, has a stomp here. We'll stop to shower for a second. I think he might still be dying.
Yeah,
Void's coming in. Watson's no, come here.
They're denied. They're denied against Venomanta, and that's not a very fun Veno timing here for him. He's got the urn. He's had the urn for a while, just hasn't been able to find any kills. I mean, he's had urn for so long and no charges that he's even gotten out the Vit booster. So, you know, he might even just, his first usage of this item might just be the full vessel. Vanscore top lane, nice cookie there to get stun onto Limitless. TP is coming, courtesy of the Tiny. Toss into the Avalanche is going to be enough damage for the kill. I should say Avalanche into the toss. It's going to be enough damage for the kill.
There's two ways of actually playing that combo. It's important to know both, because Avatos does deal more damage, but if you want the longest stun time, it is better to use Avalanche. Or even toss initially, then the Avalanche if you want to maximize. Tiny does have a little bit of intricacy once you get into, before you get the Blink Dagger. Once it's Blink Dagger, you just blink in Avatos immediately every single time.
Rock Silver. He's close, 600 gold away with that second kill. Might be looking to get +1 as he has two squishy supports currently situated down bottom. TSA just holding his ground. The stomp is going to hit him, but the Avalanche is going to stop the stomp from coming through. Loomis is going for first item Hooded Defiance, so he's not going to have a Blink Dagger, but Bendy has a Blink. Can't really slow Depress Kid enough for them to get a kill.
For a second, I thought you meant Dendy bought a Blink Dagger. I was like, wait, what?
No, got one. He's got one.
Automatically ult, and he got a kill as well there on Vanscore. I mean, yeah, not a bad usage there of the Sonic Wave, honestly. Sapphire kind of important, and sees the opportunity to go for Depress Kid, or the Shadow Strike, not going to use it early. Instead, it seems that they want to rotate and join with Watson. There is no Chrono here, but they could still maybe just kill Smiling Knight. No, Watson is not interested. He's just going to stay farming.
Yeah, he needs to be farming. He's had a kind of a tough start to this game with 2 deaths already. That amounts to about a minute of not farming, of 10 minutes in the game, you know? So it's pretty rough for him. No fear, Echo Stomp should create enough space. He's got level 1 in the Nature's Attendance. Good initiation by the Slardar. Finds the Tiny, crushes him. No fear is going to be the one to get the kill, I believe, with the Tornado.
You said the kills with the Tiny weren't necessary, but it does seem like they're getting them regardless, right? It's just, I mean, they keep finding him, and with the Starter, his kill is kind of easy. He's only gone for 1 point in Grow, which is a fair amount of armor, but not enough to deal with the Slaughter, of course. And I mean, I wouldn't say they're dominating early because they're not taking too many objectives. They need the mid tier once to really assert themselves. I feel like bottom tier 1 for Dire is.
Yeah,
I don't care too much about.
That's true. I guess the reason I said you don't really need to kill Tiny, I still stand by that, but no, I get that, but I feel like a lot of the times the trap that people fall into is we need to kill Tiny, and then they'll go and the ways and the places specifically that they try and kill Tiny is like underneath his tier 1 tower, supports rotate in, and then they turn that gank into a kill for Tiny, right? Yeah. So, but the ways that they're killing Depress Kid here, you know, they killed him once here, they killed him once kind of underneath the tier 1 tower after a long fight when you didn't expect him to be back. So actually that was his first kill.
A couple of times they found him out, just kind of out of position. position, trying to find ganks. He's trying to do something with himself, but unfortunately Veno and Gyro are just kind of static as well. It's not really their fault. They're playing well, but the time he has a lot on his shoulders and he has nobody to do it with. Maybe the Tusk, but he has no Blink Dagger yet. So
and I guess that's the thing, right? I guess that's what I'm getting at here, is that the counter initiation, especially early, thanks to just the skills that we have drafted on Team Empire, are really good at counter initiating. Like Snowball, Cookie, right? Probably some of the best two early on that you could ask for. You can have those at level 1 if you want. Yeah. So the fact that they are finding the Tiny in these awkward positions where you can't immediately help him out if he's in trouble, I think that is actually a really good sign for Bait. I think that's like, hey, you know, we can go for a quick pick off on the Tiny. If we don't get him, we just back up before TPs come in.
They find a Gyrocopter, talk about kill. Instead they find Flying them, which is, I would argue, much more important here. So you joins in, Mortimer's kisses as well. But time block, Watson just gets away. There's the Ice Shard. They were planning this from the start. Walrus Punch on top of that. 2 ultimate juice for Watson. Will this work out with a Snowball on top of that? Watson regains a bit of HP, and that's going to be sufficient to keep him alive throughout all of this. He continues farming Watson. Oh, you greedy carry. They're not going to go for him. They don't know, even though it's daytime. They might just see it.
They've got a ward here, so, you know, ET nearby to counter initiate. Okay, they're going to get no fear. Depressed Kid. I think that might have been the Blink reveal. It was. So Blink reveal onto Depressed Kid. That's kind of why you drafted Enchantress, though. So, you know, all according to plan for Bait. Tank ganks, you know, it's the first big item. So Dendy shouldn't be surprised here, and he isn't. If Depressed Kid does not tank that gank, Dendy's most likely dead here, for example, right?
Yep.
So nicely dominated by the Enchantress. But yeah, I was going to say, that's kind of the double-edged sword of picking the Venomancer versus Faceless Void. You are going to condition him and going for probably maxing Time Walk first, which makes killing him a lot more difficult for the rest of your team. And I think that's kind of what we saw there.
I mean, he can read the game, obviously, and sees the opportunity. Gyrocopter is finding his own fight in the bottom lane. There's a TP from Venomancer. Then they're really committing for this. Can they kill him with the bash? They will do so. And Smiling Knight is down, but Limitless could also fall if Vanscore can find him. There we go. The toss to the Venomancer sets up Plagueord. Can't go that way any longer. Limitless, with very few places to run, he's going to end up flattened by the Tiny. Not bad though, because I think it's an off-laner for carry anyway, so that's kind of a win for Bait. However, Empire do need these kills a lot. So at least they're doing something, right? The thing is, Bait, the longer this game goes, the more their heroes scale. I really do not trust the Veno past like 30 minutes. He's really meant to be strong now and forcing 5-on-5 engagements, and they're not accomplishing it quite yet. Yeah,
exactly. And let's just take a look at kind of how these 4 deaths make that on the Gyrocopter have really affected the game. I mean, we talked even in the drafts, of course, Veno versus Faceless Void is kind of just a poo-poo time, and that's definitely true, but as we haven't really seen that play out, just because, you know, we have gone for the Time Walk max, we have now successfully ganked our Gyrocopter a bunch, so far mission successful, but the smoke gank is going to find Watson. Depressed Kid with the blink on in, but again, he's going to have the Time Walk away. The Snowball was not in time. That's going to be another ultimate used for not a kill onto the Faceless Void. He got Chrono in 10, might even look to turn.
Going for Sayu, he also has command speeds a little bit of extra movement speed. No, instead, keeping it. There we go, nearby with the Orchid on top of that, so Sayu can't turn back either. The time blocks are plenty, honestly, but Ink cuts the Tiny to interrupt this and kills Dendy in the process. Watson still has the Chrono they needed. Chrono's right on the hook, and the call that falls onto his head. Watson needs to retreat. They don't have much damage inside the Chrono. Bait, I don't know if you should be staying here any longer. The Venomancer's coming to join them, but Tushara sees that Bait finally will look the reason and retreat. That loss of Dendy, maybe a bit of an overextension, underestimating the Tiny Blink Dagger, which is already online for Depressed Kid.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bait kind of make the same mistake that Team Empire made around the Tier 1 tower, where they kind of just assumed that Tiny was going to leave. Okay, but now they're going to jump in the mid lane. Good jump from Limitless with the bash instantly. Cookie is going to find a follow-up stun, but there's no follow-up immediately. Instead, they're going to take the free kill onto No Fear, who's hit with the Poison Nova, trapped in with the shards, hit even with the Vessel. Down she will go, and that might be enough space, and it is enough space for Team Empire to take a Tier 1 tower.
I'm assuming No Fear was trying to distract him, right? Wouldn't go onto...
I think. This is kind of how I read that one.
That was an odd play. I was just like, wait, No Fear, they're killing our team. Oh, I guess they're killing you too. Okay. They almost got both of them as well, but I guess they did literally get distracted by the Enchanters. Then she dies in the Slaughter, who is decently farmed, to be honest. Blink Dagger Hood, not a bad timing for either of these items. I'm wondering if he's going to go straight up to BKB or maybe even an AC this game. I think you kind of need to go BKB first. Can't do anything.
They're after Dendi in this top lane with the homing missile. Limitless is here to try and counter-initiate. Seiyu might have gone a little bit too aggressively here. He will not die yet, and actually DePresskit with the blink, thanks to the vision from the homing missile, gets the kill on a Dendi, but they're fighting beyond the tier 2 tower right now. Kiss is raining down, though. Are going to try and nuke down TSA, but he's now within the range. They're going to focus and set on a Limitless. 2 heroes still asleep now, have woken up, are going to look for blood. As Space is voided, it's going to show up for the fight. There's one with another stomp. They're going to buy back now on Dendi, who does have the Sonic Wave at the ready. Petrushar's going to go for the TP out. He will be allowed to leave, as there's going to be the Orchid onto Smiling Knight. Limitless with another blink on in with the bash, has him locked down, and that's going to be more than enough damage for the Gyrocopter kill, going on the way over to No Fear. Team Empire still sticking around, maybe looking for a couple of exit frags, but they won't find any. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Once again, just dropping the Gyrocopter.
I feel like their Empire, does understand when to fight, because they were fighting when Chrono was down, honestly. It's not a bad fight, but then they overextend every single time a bit too much, right? Really try to force fights. Like here on Dendi, it'd be a good idea, but now if they TP in, you retreat. Okay, see, this is the right play. Earlier, when I saw the Gyrocopter diving past the tier 2, it's kind of unnecessary. Maybe they just feel really pressured to do something. That's why they're going the extra mile here. They're soon going to have a big timing on Petushara. He has Spirit Vessel and Garden Creeps. This might help him just force these objectives and even dive reliably. I mean,
like, I see that for sure. Like, you look at, like, I think if you could, like, look at everything at once, right? We go, okay, well, there's no Chronosphere. We know that. Tiny is kind of at his peak right now. He's, with Blink Dagger, just getting kills, again, onto No Fear all day long. There's no BKBs on any of these cores yet, and we have vision on Dendi underneath their 2-2 tower. Like, I think you add all those things up, and
okay, the Chrono is available now for sure, and they will kill the hero with the highest net worth on the Empire.
Wow.
So, not bad. I mean, Watson takes that kill as well. It's going to help him recover a bit. Decent use of the Chrono. DePresskit still wants to fight this. Has a Blink Dagger in the ready. Starter in the solo position. It is nighttime. Oh, they see Vanscore, and that shouldn't be a kill on Vanscore next to the York, and he can't get away. DePresskit hoping to reinitiate, but going back in time, because otherwise Pei would have taken it down as well. Empire needs to take it easy for a while until Venom respawns.
Yeah, definitely. This replay is going to be of their dive top lane. But yeah, I mean, it like I was saying, it looked good for them. I think, like you said, they understand when they needed to fight. Because again, Tiny's kind of at his peak. Gyro is a bit weaker, but he's still strong with just experience. Again, back to your quip about mid lane Gyro, just needing the experience. But yeah, just a little bit too aggressive, and Dendi buying back there, I think it does end up being a little bit worth it, especially because he's not died yet, but they are smoke ganking on over to him. Might not know, farming where the tier 1 used to be, so you smoke's gonna break, Presskit with a jump on in, Snowball, and the Walrus Punch to secure the kill. Dead for 75 seconds now. Yeah, okay, so I Caster's Curse Dendi, my bad everyone, but a good kill for Team Empire.
Yeah, that was a great kill for Team Empire. I mean, this is awful now, because Dendi is... Like, without the reliability of Dendi as your secondary core, then Empire's actually not looking that bad, because honestly, they're pulling off a really nice tri-core here. And Tiny can eventually turn into the secondary carry. It just so happens that Queen of Pain has a smoother transition, but not if she falls behind, right? She needs to keep putting some pressure on. They should be able to do so as well, with BKBs coming up on her, also one on Slardar. They're still halfway through, and Watson trying to finish that Sanj. Not a very high net worth game, though, in general.
And dare I say that that's kind of a common situation I feel like we've seen from Dendi, even in Season 1, right? Like, if you recall last season as the Puck pushing to the Tier 2 tower and then just getting hexed and killed by the Shaman, basically. That's something we have seen from him a bit. I mean, it's good execution from Team Empire, right? Dendi's not just falling into their lap right there. It's a pretty reasonably safe place to farm. But a good catch by Team Empire, and they're going to utilize that dieback penalty to secure Roshan. Aegis now in hand for Smiling Knight, as he's going to continue farming up.
He's almost at the Ags as well. That'll allow him to build. I wonder what the build is going to be after that. I guess you go for SNY tank up, or even... Actually, Scotty's a really good idea, because it would reduce the attack speed of the Void early. Yeah. And also it would help you tank up against him, so it's the best of both worlds there. Or a BKB. BKB is always nice, though. I think in this game, if you're Empire... Most everything they have pierces BKB.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it allows you to ignore Echo Stomp, but that's basically it.
And the Slithering Crush, to be honest.
And Crush, true, but not Bash, right? Which I feel like is a bit more relevant.
I agree.
So yeah, I get that point as well. I don't know. I feel like
Manta actually on all the corrosive pace.
The gyro?
Nice. Yeah, the gyro, because it's been buffed for ranged heroes as well. So yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
I like the sound of that.
and then into like a Scotty afterwards for like stats.
I like the sound of that. He might just... Yeah, I mean, he's got to decide now, though. He's going to go Satanic.
Oh, okay, that also does a spell, actually.
Yeah.
So, you know, I agree with that idea. Yeah, that's the same logic, except this one will just give him full tank ability. I wonder if they'll be lacking damage, though. That kind of gyrocopter. They are already lacking a bit of sustained damage against someone like
Skrff. I think, like, for the first fight after Satanic, probably not. But once we have S and Y on Faceless Void, plus his next item, I'm not sure what he's going to want to go for. Kind of seems like a good BKB game for him. For Watson, that is.
But, yeah, for sure. I agree. I think all the cores they should go for BKB.
Yeah. So I think pre-BKB, Satanic is going to give you the survivability you need, and probably just enough damage. But I agree with you. Once these BKBs come out from 8, he's going to need to get a +1 item, and I think that's maybe where he goes back for the Eye of Scotty. Of course, keeping in mind that Van Score, as all position 5s mostly, or the offlaners are doing these days, has the Solar Crest, which is going to significantly increase the damage for the Gyrocopter, so gives him a little bit of a wider window here for him to be a bit more impactful with this Satanic, and he is playing still with Aegis for the next about 2.5 minutes.
No Fear didn't go for it, he actually went for a Hurricane Flag, so Enchanters will be able to deal more damage, but that's not going to buff the Void. It will reduce the... He's just playing old Enchantress. I guess he sees her still as the nuker in the mid game, which hasn't been too popular. They're trying to initiate here onto the Gyrocopter, but those Ice Shards covering actually really nicely. So that's going to prevent Star from just walking in, bashing in, Slithering Crush. He doesn't want to waste his Blink Dagger in the initiation.
Yeah, that's not a very wise jump to make, because if you wake up Smiley Knight, he'll just retreat behind that little enclave that they've made for him, and Slarver can't chase him. You can get the bash and the initial stun, but he wouldn't be able to do much of else. So trying to finish farming his BKB, as he's currently in the enemy jungle. Yeah, they look like they are.
Pretty bad they just took a tower for free and you really couldn't force a fight or anything. I guess you took bottom in exchange, right? Because then he did a good job there. But it still feels bad they can afford to do this, because if they did this with mid, obviously the top as well, they can do this with bottom as well. They run out of objectives. They can do the slow push into the high ground. If you're too afraid to be able to fight them, you need a turning point.
Yeah, I just feel like, I mean, it does feel bad, but I feel like this is just as an hit for bait right now. I mean, we've got Seiyu with Blink Dagger right now as well.
Just waiting, just patient.
Yeah, because they're just, Team Empire are really, really strong right now. It's not like so much about the 2K net worth lead, more is it about the draft of the heroes, right? Obviously, Tiny's really strong right now with Echo Saber. He does a ton of damage. We still don't have a BKB on anyone. Seiyu, again, with his Blink Dagger, can counter-initiate on the Chronosphere if it's a good one. So that puts a lot of pressure under Watson, who still doesn't really have enough damage by himself. Maelstrom and Sanj is nice, in addition to the Mask of Madness attack speed, but they still need a lot of things to come together. And I think without Dendi there, without BKB to kind of tank a couple of spells, it's just not easy enough. So plus Aegis, right?
Watson is really lucky. The S and Y will fix that a bit, but then he has to go immediately into BKB. Just don't have it. It gets solar press, that's the thing. If he had no solar press, I feel like he would already have enough damage. Because how great that buff is, right? With the S and Y, mind. But like this, you need to build a lot more items to make it effective. I wonder if you go like after the BKB straight butterfly or something like that, go full damage build.
Yeah, actually, I think that sounds pretty good to me. Do you think maybe this is the game? No, there's nothing really to dispel, I would say. I was going to say for Watson, maybe considering the Aghanim Shard, Ag Scepter build that's pretty popular in pubs.
I really like that build in general, but I feel like you need something else for damage. Maybe if you upgrade them into Mjolnir, then you could go for that. That'd be fine.
Okay, I see that. I don't know, I'm a little bit concerned because then
there's
with
no
that
synergy
build
between the two, by the way. When you go back, you don't dash as well.
Attack.
But I'm a little bit concerned because if we go for like Butterfly, it feels like we're a monster inside of Chronosphere, and then outside of it, we're just like the regular Shiba Inu, right? That's kind of the concern. Whereas the Ags gives you a little bit more of fighting potential, but doesn't make your Chrono as strong.
So the question is, do you have team fight outside the Chrono? I'd say kind of minor, honestly.
Yeah, good point. We're good at pickoffs.
Yeah.
But that's not team fight.
Exactly. Even like a Centaur or Tide or whatever, be like, okay, you know what, go for a more all-round Void. But I feel like it's Chrono or bust this game for them.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. You know what? You've turned me to your side. I agree with you.
I'm glad. Empire, on the other hand, though, I do think I have a pretty fair amount of team fight, actually. I mean, I know it's Tiny and Tusk and stuff are all like single target, it seems like, but their team fight is just so easy to execute. It's throw a bunch of stuff around, gyro cleanup, right? It really is just like a teenager's party, and Gyro's the mom coming at the end, like, oh, leave all these things to the floor. I feel like Smiling Knight is going to be the carry this game, which is why I think they also built in the Solo Crest so early, right? Because they know the importance of this.
This is kind of how Smiling Knight usually likes to play Dota. I feel like his team, pardon me, whatever team he's on,
it's 4 Protect 1.
4 Protect 1, yeah, kind of like the RDO style from the previous bait, you know. But you give him the farm, and he's got some serious clutch potential, especially on these, like, I'm just going to stand in front of you and we will punch each other in the face kind of hero. Yeah. It's like the Gyrocopter, especially with Satanic, right? One of the better Satanic carries in the game, along with Luna, who else is a fantastic, and pretty damn good at carrying one. But like, he can definitely carry this game for them if they go late enough. Again, Chronosphere is real damn scary to fight into, but one slight counterplay that I will mention, besides the ones I already have that are Snowball and Snapfire Eggs, which we're not even queued up yet, so I don't think that's going to be too relevant, is if you can activate Satanic before Chrono is placed down, your side gunner still life steals for you.
True.
So that could maybe be enough for you, especially with the Paladin Sword, for you to just stay barely alive in a Chronosphere. I'm not sure, but I'll say it for consistency's sake.
You're not wrong. Even without it being activated, still a fair amount of heal with the Paladin. Like, Paladin Sword is what a finest fight.
Yeah.
You couldn't be luckier. For the Gyro, it's one of the probably the best item Gyro can buy, honestly, or get.
He'd love to buy it if he could.
Yeah, he would. He would totally buy it. And now, yeah, you can go for damage. I still like the stats build here for him, just because he's your main carry anyway. But we are seeing Bait making a move. I'm assuming this is smoke now. They're all nearby, near under ward. Like, you just need to do something, right? In the Chrono's up, you gotta get kills.
It's a good time for it as well, I would say. I think this is maybe where I think Bait, they're showing a bit of hesitancy because they're like, we're strong, but also Team Empire are still kind of waning, or waxing, I think it is, right? In terms of their power levels.
Oh, waxing, if you mean they're still increasing, right?
I think they're waning then. I would say they're waning.
So waning is decreasing.
At least waning is decreasing, yeah. I think they're
I know, but I'm asking you what you meant.
I think they're waning because now that we've got dual BKBs up, 9 seconds for Slardar, 9 seconds for Queen of Pain, with a Chronosphere on top to boot, I feel like could actually pretty easily take some fights now.
That's BKB, but no time to use it. Oh, that's a huge loss.
Oh no. He was just farming the wave and they jumped him?
He was just farming the wave, yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, Mortimer's skills got used, so at least there's that. They didn't really need them, I think, but that kill on Dendi means a lot, because this gives you the chance to Roshan, actually. Oh, this kill means so much.
Oh, no.
Roshan's up in 20 seconds.
Fast Rosh.
Yeah, Bait can't... I mean, if Dendi buys back, but it comes in 20 seconds, and they do take it immediately with a solo crest as well, which means they're quite fast at doing so.
Yeah, and because they lost Dendi on the first life, as you recall down here, giving Team Empire a free Roshan, because of that, they actually got not only the outpost, but all the outer towers for Bait. So even if you were to buy back, it's not the fastest like re-entry into Roche. So I don't really think they can contest this one, Avo. In fact, I think it's going to be over before we can say much else about it.
Yeah, it's also the first Roche of the Shard. He has some incredible Shard. Or sorry, second rush, which means the shards with it. Yeah, honestly, everything here is pretty great for the shard. Nothing is really bad depending on what you want to use next. Apparently they're going to give it to Veno. He's one of the honestly best shards in the game, flat out, right? Always useful on this. Because it summons the 2 Plague Wards and it increases the range of Gale by a bunch, by 400 units. Which means now sieging high ground becomes much easier because you get many more Plague Wards, and you also have the H on top of that. With Butterfly coming soon for Gyrocopter.
Dendi's pet mouse needs to be fed.
I hate it. Okay, let's all give it to Chibi. Chibi is Dendi's pet. Absolutely adorable creature. He always shows it in the Bait videos. Go check him out. If you go to the Bait Twitter, you'll find him.
Indeed, I think they're at Bait Esports GG.
Indeed, and if you can't find the Chibi videos, right, you gotta go to our Twitters, Mr. Rival Plus and Seeker Strike. If you follow them, they might appear for you.
Might. They just might.
They
Who knows?
just might, yes.
But yeah, that second death on Dendi, unfortunately, is going to free up Roshan, so now we're looking pretty strong. Aegis and Cheese, as well as that Aghanim Shard. So Cheese is going to be on Tiny for Depressed Kid. He's also clocking in with his 9-second BKB by himself. Again, doesn't really mean a whole lot for him this game, considering the lineup that Bait has, but it does help him tank up just a little bit more, that extra 200 and something HP. And the match community to not get crushed immediately by the Slardar. And I think actually having it for the Dispel feels really nice this game, too.
Yeah, I guess because you're the initiator, right? It's justified for you to. I think there might be better items, but also since you're committing to this initiative build, we're not seeing go for it, right? You might as well. What other items will you get? Shadow Blade maybe against a Slaughter. I don't love it. The overwhelming Blink will be a nice little addition to this. And since you didn't take the shard, that also shows that Empire is not looking to rotate the Tiny into that position. They might just put the Veno there. He's not too awful at fulfilling the secondary carry role. Or maybe just all in on the Gyrocopter. It's not crazy because his matchup against Void is pretty good. But that's a grave that Fate dug for themselves. And we mentioned in the draft because they picked the Void into the...
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. I was just taking a look, scrubbing through the replays here, but yeah, back when we were saying back when Bait was kind of as 5 holding in their triangle, much like they are now, even Dendi actually in the same spot, it looked like they were like, maybe we fight, maybe we don't. They decided against it. Dendi, maybe he was like, I'm gonna clear, push one wave top, and then we go in because they noticed top was pushing in there. It ends up taking a really crucial death, and what might be a very costly one indeed, unfortunately for the likes of Bates. Going for the Sheepstick next, as Slaughter still has not really gotten the chance to use this 9-second BKB. He lets Dendi faceless Void, and now with his own 9-second BKB on the way, following the completion of the Sanjin Ya, has queued up the Eye of Scotty as his next item.
That's you. That or like I was gonna say Butterfly because Butterfly deals more damage than Scotty, but fair enough. You know, you're just taking it still. It's crazy how this region would used to be the... I mean, whenever Bait plays up here, they just slow down the game. Someone in the chat will make the joke, oh, so Dendi can play, right? Slow down the game.
Well, you know what they say. If there's one Bait fan, it's me, you know?
I mean, I feel like the last season they did the same with RDO, right? They just played 60-minute games, and that's when they got scary, though. It's like they had some time to upgrade, but once they got to 60 minutes, they would play like for Dota as well. Just crazy because you don't usually get that from teams that are inconsistent. Right?
Yeah, and a lot of like pros and even like, you know, other analysts be like, yeah, you don't get to practice plus 45, plus 50-minute Dota in scrims. Usually it doesn't go that long. So it's kind of like you're not really flying blind at that stage, but it's not really super rehearsed either.
No, but you know, Dendi's played every competition Dota known to man.
I wonder if he has. Because what? Now there's I mean, obviously there's a couple of heroes that you haven't played with yet, specifically Dawnbreaker, but
there's a big number available on Watson. Melee range Rex. Are they just gonna let him fall? No, but it doesn't. Watson feels confident. He time looks back home with the Poison Nova still on him. Watson can kill Sayu and will even keep off his dead body there as they finish off Petushara in the backlines. The Preskin will be able to TP back home, but that was a struggle for Empire, and Bait, they showed they can win these team fights now.
Yeah, that was a really, really nicely done. The first life, of course, Team Empire, they knew that he was kind of gone on his first life, but the second life, they didn't even bother fighting for it at all either. And that all came down to the Chronosphere placement by Watson. Very, very well played by him. If he puts, again, a lot of faceless Voids, they want to be super efficient with their Chrono, you know, have their melee supports help out for a little bit of extra damage, but you can't play like that this game because of the Tusk Link Dagger, and he definitely recognizes that, and doesn't try and be fancy with it. Just a simple Chronosphere kind of puts him right smack dab in the middle while zoning out the supports enough, and there's just really not much Team Empire can do. Smiley Knight pops his BKB to try and get the jump onto Dendi, but Dendi's still proving that he's got plenty of dexterity left in him. At 31 years old, pops his BKB as well, so Smiley Knight doesn't really get to do much in that fight either.
I mean, that was just the fact that they left him alone in the beginning to me seemed a bit odd. They had no save for him when they put him in the high ground, just assuming they just would do the trick with the Chrono existing. Right? It was just a very cocky play by Empire, which ended up costing them way too heavily. They don't have any force steps either for him. Now for TSA, they're gonna kill. This would be kind of nice if you're gonna catch as well. No Fear is going to fall, but it seems like Bait. No, they want to retreat. There was a moment there where they were all surrounding the enemy, but it seems like they all wanted to retreat. Just in different directions. They scatter like the wind, and they end up only losing the supports. Not too bad, especially forcing a buyback from Snapfire. That's honestly just putting Empire in difficult position.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, best of all, we only lose the ranged barracks, which isn't too impactful, to be honest. Tier 3's down, but again, that's not going to be the craziest thing in the world. Smiley Knight, by the way, he's going to just go for the butterfly next, so he's going to force something out from the likes of Fate, as they are going to go and try and finish up the bottom lane of barracks. Dendi, he can always decide to turn that Orchid into the Bloodthorn instead of going for the Sheepstick for the True Strike it provides, now that Divine Rapier no longer grants you that. Or we can see Watson perhaps queue up instead of the Eye of Scotty, the MKB. We'll see what they decide here for the likes of Bait. Pretty crucial, because I think a large component of them being able to kill the Gyro was Slaughter landing the attack guaranteed for the bash. And not having that guaranteed is going to be a little spooky, especially because if they wanted to, Team Empire could decide to throw the Elven Tunic onto Smiling Knight as well to really exacerbate this issue.
I don't love that though, because you know you have Paladin Sword.
I agree.
Even though I like Elven Tunic, but I agree
agree
with your point, right? Like you just can't go for Bloodthorn though.
Radiant are scanning.
So it seems like it's just a lost case.
Or actually Satanic.
Oh right, it's true. Yeah, you can even do that. Yeah,
good point. Good point.
There's no point in the Bloodthorn because of that. So MKB for the Void seems fine, right? Because it's good item for him. But the Slaughter, yeah, he's gonna struggle now. Let's get more attack speed. Right? Miss, just hit faster. That's the solution. Just force your way through it and hope that you can still hit the Gyrocopter. I think that's your only option, really.
Maybe Bloodthorn deserves a little bit of a buff. Maybe it needs a hard dispel instead of a basic dispel.
So with the dispel by BKB, the problem is just the price is like... Time to get Bloodthorn, the enemy team always has BKB, right?
Yeah.
So it's a nice late game item, mind you, but that's the problem. The evasion beating thing is not really useful against most...
By the way, No Fear is like you're saying, going for the old school Enchantress. Even has the Academ Scepter.
I mean, that's now. With the Sproink. Actually, kind of insane, by the way, this ability.
Yeah.
Very underwhelming. If you ask Crit thinks this ability.
Well, yeah, but if you see Crit play with the Sproink, it's also kind of, it looks like the most broken eggs in the game.
Well, everything that Crit, I mean, that's. Yeah, but I'm just saying that this is his opinion about Sproink, and he's actually really good with it. He likes to build this function. It's like kind of a pseudo carry Enchantress. It's better if you play her offlane with this build, but I don't know if you've got enough time. It's been one of the longest games. This is why Bait excels in the late game. They're all carries. It's really just 5 carries or 4 carries and TSA. That's the game right now.
Once again, disciplined Dota on top of recognizing how strong these ward spots are and fighting underneath them. Both teams kind of refusing to leave. Eventually, Bait are going to be forced back because of basically Plague Wards. So Petushara is doing a strong job for his team and continuing to zone away Bait. All the ultis up, operational for both sides. Aegis has, of course, been reclaimed long ago, and Roche may be up as soon as in 30 seconds to a further 3 minutes after that.
We do have Chrono available now for Bait in addition. You saw the other Chrono work.
Oh.
I get on the Aegis.
Real quick, Smiling Knight's got Minotaur Horn equipped for this next scrap as they are smoked up, so he's put the Paladin Sword away.
Okay, I mean, I think that's fine. Tier 4 items tend to be Tier 3 items. Best choices. I don't know if he's gonna buy it yet. Since you have cheese, I mean, if you get Aeon Disc, it's risky, but you might just win the fight outright. But I guess Smiling now.
I mean, it's risky. I don't think Aeon Disc is, in this game especially, one of those items that's like, we're going to win with it 100%, or we're going to lose with it 100%. Like, I don't think Aeon Disc is really that tier of item.
A make or break item. Yeah, it's too... Like, it's useful to have almost always against a Void as the direct counter, but don't want to put all your eggs in that.
Definitely. Because if they scout the Aeon Disc, Bait are probably going to know there's no way he's got buyback. Let's run it down mid. And they push pretty darn fast as well.
Nope, there's the
big items. Yeah, Scotty finished for Watson. Shiva's finished. Sorry, make that Scythe of Vice finished for Dendi.
Okay, Scythe of Vice, interesting choice. Actually, a good way to make use of the Bloodthorn, I guess. If you use Scythe of Vice and Bloodthorn, you can't use KB or Satanic. So you're custom Doom, I guess.
Pocket Doom, as they say. Doom, as it looked like Dendi was eager to make the jump there. Will not be able to close the gap soon enough. That's going to be them scouting the Scythe of Vice, though, as we continue to pick up the Tier 4 neutrals. We've got all 4 of them now for the likes of Team Empire. Then no one's holding on to the Telescope nor Penta Edge Sword as of this moment. Whereas Bait are... Oh, nice. Telescope is going to be nice to have for this Enchantress. And then, is that Trickster's Cloak? It is. And then finally, the Illusionist Cape for our Faces of Void.
Illusionist Cape actually really good on the Void, because you can
Radiant
well,
so scanning.
hit both, so it might actually be one of the few heroes that can use relatively offensive.
Definitely.
He is gonna. The MKB though is, I think, the turning point here to deal with the Gyro Butterfly. I mean, they're chilling. You know, both teams playing quite safe Dota until now. This might go into the late game. I do give Bait a bit of an edge then, honestly, because you still have the Chrono Power. I feel like that's better equally on this.
Yeah, I agree. I would have to agree with you. I think it's just so tough to fight into a Faceless Void, especially once he gets this MKB up. He's going to be clocking in like close to 4,000 HP. He's going to have probably 20% backtrack as well, so you have to add that onto his effective HP as they're going to complete this TP from Limitless. Watson was coming behind to support him.
Yeah, I've actually never seen a Void go for the talent these days. Used to be the case, maybe like so many patches ago. Team fight. Now it's just a secondary part in the true Void carry meta.
There's Roshan number 3 has the refresher shard. Would be really nice to have more for bait, to be honest. I think they could be looking for that second Chronosphere in an engagement. So they're going to send the Faceless Void, Illusion Escape, Illusion forward. Smoke is 5. Maybe look for an opening here to exploit out from the side of Team Empire. We'll switch over to buyback here real quick.
I feel like you have enough damage now to anyone. I think Bait is looking in a strong position. The Assault Caress also great for going high ground right after. They might just find the Tusk. No, just keep it. It knows that they initiate in the wrong spot. They get caught by the Poison Nova and they get danced around the bunch. Still at the mercy. It's also one of Tiny's best assets, right? Going in and out of fights with everyone.
Plus, we still have Cheese on Gyrocopter in the backpack now because he's got Aeon Disc already completed. Queuing up the Divine Rapier next. He's already 3,500 gold in for that. We'll see if he maybe decides to finish up the Mjolnir before.
Gotcha.
He also has in the quick buy. Anything else that's very exciting. Closing on the Lotus for the Veno. Nothing too huge there. Overwhelming Blink, like you said, for the Tiny. Going for Daedalus next on him. We're about to have buyback come off cooldown now for Vanscore, who did use it a bit earlier on. So far that's gone relatively unpunished. It's a pretty slow game this one's turning into. There's the Splunk in action. Nuking the creep wave, in case you haven't seen it before.
The first kid looking to find Dendy. Can he find him? Do I have a Hex? Just Hex instead of PKB, but you know, then he has too many seconds. He has to shave off seconds.
Yeah, he doesn't need that many. He's going, you know, back in my day, this used to be 10 seconds. I mean, I think he just BKBs there because he doesn't know what's coming after, right? That's kind of the scary part.
Fair. That's true. Because obviously you don't have information. Because they're both insta-cast, right? That's the same cast.
Yeah, but of course the Hex, while it'll stop a Tiny, you know, a BKB is going to keep you safe from maybe a Snowball that's coming, but of course no Snowball was coming, but Dendy couldn't have known that, as I think bought another item. Yeah, so Depressed Kid now has the Crystallis, so he's going to be looking to try and crit a little bit more, not to be confused with the player or the other player, Crystallize. Very different players, and one item. Dendy snags the regeneration rune as just so many Plague Wards just chilling in the Roach Pit right now. Down bottom, they have found one. It's Limitless. Pops the BKB. There's a Snowball this time, though. The Press Kid is not going to get bashed, and the Snowball's all into the Creep Wave, so just a little bit of saber rattling down bottom.
I know. I'm just waiting for the team fight to happen, Richie. At this point, we can keep theory crafting about the items if you want to, but it does feel like I just feel like Empire should be doing more. I don't know if they're just waiting for the 30-minute peak. Like, do you think maybe this goes 60 minutes? That's what they're waiting for? That's the power?
I think they're... I don't know what they're waiting for. I mean, I think Bait are... Maybe... Okay, so Bait... Dendy's close to 25, so unless they can get a free pick off here onto the Gyrocopter, who should TP underneath the ward. There's Limitless with a bash on in, but he's just going to force the Minotaur on, and they will back away. Maybe a wise decision as Team Empire were smoked behind him, ready to go the counter initiate on the likes of Bait. In fact, they might still make a play.
Just Roshan. I guess Empire is just gonna force them to fight here. I don't know. Bait should go. Please, Bait, go. You have Chrono, right? You should be able to win this team fight if you Chrono in properly. The question is the counter initiation by Empire strong enough?
At this stage against BKBs, I don't know. I believe it's still a 9-second BKB. No, it's an 8-second BKB, pardon me, on Faceless Void. They last used a 9-second BKB when they defended bottom tier 3, which is now gone, of course. That was, what, maybe 20 minutes ago? So it was some time ago, of course. Nothing else too major here for the items, as they're just kind of tickling Roche, but Watson sending his illusion just to make sure that they're not going to really commit. Lots of finding the tier 1 mid lane goes down, by the way. Violent Knight is at 25, so he's got global cooldown. That's my global cooldown, sorry. He's used that already a couple times, and actually has finished up the full Mjolnir before the Divine Rapier. Chilling in the quick buy for him. So I think now they're actually going to really commit for Roshan. Dendi has shown at bottom. He's going to have to make his walk actually all the way over here, and I don't think he's going to be here in time.
Okay, now they're going in, overwhelming blink used by the press kit. We do have the Croc ready. And the Ioannis is pump. That's perfect. Now you can use the chrono. There we go. Score gets sighted. Now what they were looking for, but the Earth Splitter combo is good. Was on the whip on top of that. They've actually hated him for a second. The Hex make sure they can finish off Smiley Knight as Watson goes in a bit too far. And the time block has to retreat immediately to top, keeping it in place. Watson needs to time block away, but he doesn't get it off in time. The call down, the last missile was enough to kill off Watson, and return was given. Smiling Knight avenging his own death as TSA falls together with Watson here, end up being a pretty decent, well, actually kind of even, because Bait did take Roshan though before they died. Dendi has the Aegis, so it's not too bad in that sense.
Yeah, kind of two mini fights broke out there. Petushara was able to hold back the majority of Bait as they were finishing up Roshan. Unfortunately, Poison Nova does fully affect Roshan, so he kind of contributed towards Bait being able to finish Rosh that much quicker, while Watson kind of gets stuck into the enemy triangle. Couldn't really get that second kill onto the gyrocopter as he was hoping for. Kind of got kited up by the press kit and Sayu as soon as he gets up. Really impactful E-Blade as well. Prevent Smiling Knight from dying inside the Chronosphere. They actually have to commit a little bit of extra time just to kill him after Chronosphere ends. Fortunately for them, doesn't really get much else accomplished with his first life. Has bought back here, along with Petushara. Jumping right back onto the road. Sean onto the gyrocopter, who does not have Ioannis yet for another 20 seconds. Almost in some trouble. Gets a 4-step out from No Fear as Dendi, now level 25, starting to dish in the damage along with No Fear with the Spoink. Out of mana now, though, as Dendi will make the jump into Press Kit. Just going to go ahead and BKB. TP out right on the high ground, as the cooldown was there to slow any attackers willing to chase. He did buy back there on the position for ET. But other than that, nothing else really majorly used. And still hold on to Aegis and Cheese on the side of Bait. Okay, who's got this Refresher Shard? I
mean, holding that was a huge win there. They had lost the racks there. I would say that would be Empire taking advantage of the buybacks a bit better. And of course, they can, like, despite you winning the Roshan, doesn't really matter because they took your racks. But in this case, since you managed to at least keep your racks up, and because you keep the Aegis with, now they can make a big play and hopefully kill the gyrocopter, who has no buyback as well. They just need to find a way to bait out that Aeon disc. Nullifier for now for Slaughter. Okay, interesting choice, I guess, against the Ghost Senses we're seeing, particularly the Venos.
Yeah.
And also dispels the Force Staff midway as well, because now it's constantly dispelling, so Force Staff becomes huge.
Interesting. Dendi is going for a Refresher Orb, by the way, on the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I guess double Sonic Wave. What I don't really understand is why you would want this over, say, a Nags, but maybe you want the double Hex and Orchid on top of that?
Does Refresher also refresh your spell block that you have now with level 25? I'm not certain either. I don't know if that's really why he bought it. I believe it is for the Sonic Wave, maybe the Blink, and especially the BKB and the Sheepstick. It's probably for the items, but it's something I'm curious about now, because I don't know if I've really ever seen Refresher on Queen of Pain, at the very least, not before an Axe.
Yeah, I am surprised with that. I mean, there must be a reason, of course. I think that the impact of the immediate double Sonic Wave might be where his logic is lying, and double Hex as well. I mean, until now, I think the build is pretty solid by Dendi. Instead of becoming the secondary, just the utility, and he's let Slaughter become the damage dealer in general.
He has it locked, but I mean, he doesn't have buyback, so he's probably going to disassemble it once he reaches the relative safety of his team. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's fine. The Rapier is right, but still the damage is key. And since damage now links to your survivability, I mean, you just need to do this. You want to close out the game before this becomes impossible for you.
Yeah, especially now with 2 Chronos you're fighting into. I don't know if even that's going to be enough, because there's Bloodthorn, so we can kiss goodbye to all that evasion that we have now for the gyrocopter. Of course, he does get one refresh, one hard dispel thanks to the Disc, However, of course, now that we've got the refresher for Dendi, perhaps maybe this is kind of what he was expecting, and this is the reaction. Smoke plays. Dendi just kind of farming down bottom. Can teleport 6-second TP to the outpost. He does not have boots of travels. Rocking the power treads with Aegis. As actually Dendi may be baiting himself here. The rest of Team Empire running through their jungle, trying to connect.
I think it's Radiant. Oh, he does. You have to complete the go for the gyro, the hex. You can do the refresher for a second hex. I mean, if you got the belt, it matters. Smiling is dead. Wow. That was quicker than I expected it to. Smiling can't stand a chance if he's out of position.
Dendi actually baited them.
Yeah. That was really well done. I thought,
and
you have the BKB, so most likely you survived that, but I didn't think you would get the gyro out of that initiation. That's the buyback on Gyrocopter, I think.
That was a huge pick off there. They got the ward, and unfortunately, Team Empire, they would have been able to preempt that. Oh, they did have a sentry here, so they probably knew, and I think everyone but Smiley Knight seemed to get the message. Luckily for him, he didn't actually complete the Divine Rapier. He didn't unlock it, so he didn't feed the Rapier or anything like that. It's not a 12k net per swing, nothing crazy, but now they know there's no buyback on Gyrocopter for a while here. In fact, another couple of minutes as the Watson almost dying here to Tiny with the 3 tosses that he now has. So far, okay. That was just Nullifier really putting him down quite easily. We didn't have to use even 1 Chronosphere, and mind you, we still have 2 for Watson. He tries to time walk the Cookie Stone, unfortunately can't get that one done. Dendi jumping on in with the Hex onto the Press Kid, just being a bit annoying for now. The Press Kid now with Daedalus, by the way, so can pump out a lot of damage, especially with the overwhelming blink that he currently has completed and has had completed for some time. Mid lane of Barracks to fade up, however, as Empire not confident fighting all the damage of Smiling Knight.
So there's positions here, except that this time it's because, of course, the absence of Smiling Knight. Thank God he didn't complete his Rapier, actually, by that minute, otherwise though. Death. Press Kid, okay, walking in. Sees the opportunity. Can he kill Dendi in time? Dendi, ooh, the blink gets him away. Thanks to the BKB, he hasn't taken toss damage either. And go back in with the Chrono, just for the Tiny. Gonna live on top of this, and they will. No, he'll save him with a couple of the Sonic. They've actually put him close enough. He'll die inside Snapfire spell. The Press Kid wasn't able to survive that as he just pops out and dies immediately. Flies back to try to fight against the Star Dart. The BKB's been set. Mortimer's Kiss is no longer hurting him. No freaking tank this nicely, and they've already taken the melee racks. Now with the ranged, they can walk out. They just got a huge bounty here out of this team fight.
Yeah, that was absolutely huge for them. Gyro's respawning, still has not unlocked the Divine Rapier. I mean, at this stage, I don't really see a reason why he hasn't. I guess he's got buyback in another minute, so he can still hold on for that. But Bates, again, like you're saying, taking a huge opening here. That's 2 lanes of barracks for them. They get all the tier 2 down, all the tier 2s down as well, because there was just the top one remaining. Tusk, go ahead.
As I say, you think Dendi named his team Bait because that was its primordial strat. That was the idea behind this team. I'm just gonna do this, and this is how we're gonna win every game, because these Baits have pretty much literally given them the lead. Like, it's honestly been Dendi's just playing super aggressive out of position, his team ready to initiate every single time. It's been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. DePrescott thought he could really nuke down the Queen of Pain. Maybe if he rolled a little bit higher on the crits, he would have had the kill, as Dendi's going to silence Bloodthorn even himself. But in exchange for this kill onto the Tusk, who is just dying to the shots of Impetus. Off of Nope here. Okay, Watson has Chronosphere number 2 ready to go, but Smiley Knight with Aeon Disc, as well as now the Minotaur Horn completed, still has not unlocked the Aegis. They're going to make a play for him now, trying to give him every bit of survivability they can, but he's going to go down regardless. Too much damage into the Chronosphere. No saves there for him. He's dead for another 90 seconds. DePrescott doing what he can here, trying again to snipe the kill onto Dendi, but he proves to be too tanky. Pops the BKB, turns. The Earth Splitter whips, as will a Sonic Wave, but Sonic Wave at least connecting onto both supports, who are now getting Fountain Dive. Careful here, faces for Watson, though, is going to force the GG out from them in the Fountain, as it will be game number 1 under the belt of Bait.
That was a very good game by Bait, I'd say. I mean, mind you, it is, like, if we look at the previous iterations of this team, it is the style that they like playing the most, which is where they managed to get into the late game and they just...
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it. you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries as we'll find out. Let's take it slow, where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow, who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow, where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it. Slow, who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. You say I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning. You wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you'll break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came. I stopped asking for forgiveness, cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone, so save your judgment cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break, swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came. crawling around, searching for higher ground. Can't see in front of me, my enemies. I've tried every possibility, ability to know if I can bleed. If that's what you wanted, you won't get it tonight. 'Cause I can fly, I can fly. Crawling around, searching for higher ground. Can't see in front of me, my enemies. I've tried every possibility, ability to know if I can bleed. If that's what you wanted, you won't get it tonight. 'Cause I can fly, The seasons come and go like thoughts of you. Like a wave returns to the sea into the blue.
Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
Fading music. You ready to go, Avo? Oh, I'm muted.
Dire team ban.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, sorry. I mute myself in TeamSpeak so you don't have to deal with helicopter noise. Ready? Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Richard Garcia here, back to bring you the coverage of for DTNN2 of the ESL 1 DPC Eastern European Lower Division Season 2, powered by Intel. Real quick, though, we do have another stats segment to bring you guys ASAP. Without further ado, let me introduce my colleague, Mr. Avo Stats.
Hello guys, before match number 2, we're going to look at the top 2 heroes for the teams, okay? It's quite some simple statistic here. Watson, we have seen him previously on the Morphling, also a pretty big ranking player as well. Actually pretty well known last season as well for playing a lot of Monkey King here for Hustlers, but these are the top 2 heroes from their Dota buff, so the heroes they enjoy playing the most. Smiling at Troll Warlord and Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet stands out because he's been practicing it a bunch and in League recently as Troll Warlord loses a bit of face. Their Prescott is particularly known for his Invoker, though as a mid player he knows Void Spirit. Dendi, most people will know him for like Purge, for example, but actually he is a big, I mean his biggest hero is Puck, with DP being a close second, and actually Queen of Pain also being close behind. The DP actually from Dendi, he was one of the first players to ever run a very different kind of draft where your win condition was the deep mid lane. This was back I think in like the TA4 era where Navi was still together, and they did win, and most people were doubtful of this creativity, but Dendi made it work, so actually a lot of history within these. For Petushara, we'll see the Centaur and Tide, nothing too special here. Similar for Limitless, as Mars stands out. And the Darkseer that we've seen once or twice, but usually combined with TSA's Lion, in addition with his Tiny and the Dark Willow. Those are the heroes he plays most in competitive, but in the Dota buff, it's the Tiny a little bit more than the Dark Willow. Sayu, not featured here, is the Lion, who's been playing a lot recently, but the heroes he's been particularly known for was actually the Tusk, with which he broke into the scene. For Vanscore, it's all safe. It's the classic Abaddon plus the Enchantress, also pretty solid with a Dazzle back in the day. He was actually very much known for his Dazzle when he could have been played as a support, and nowadays a bit more the Oracle. No Fear, but more aggressive on his side. It's going to be the ET and Grimstroke. He plays a lot in his pubs, and also notably known for that Witch Doctor, even sometimes the Disruptor, copying Solo's strategy. Let's go to the draft. Back to you, Seek and Strike.
Thank you, Avo Stats. We're going to go right into our draft, guys, because it is already developing. We'll bring you live, up-to-date actions and the most recent reports here on DTNN2, as we strive to do. So without further delay, into the draft for game number 2, where Bates currently are leading 1-0 versus Team Empire. As we can see the Ench come out for game number 2 here yet again, but I do see a Magnus. I wonder if this is going to be a mid lane mag for Dendi.
I like to see that, actually, because I think he's a very, very solid mag player. And I actually kind of like that matchup against the Invoker. Quaspex Invoker ruins the Empower Magnus, because of course Tornado dispels that. But if you just go for the Shockwave Magnus, you're actually kind of fine for the most against the Invoker, unless he goes Quas-Exort, because you just tank him decently. I wouldn't mind it for Limitless either, and with the Void Spirit, honestly, it could be either or. I know Limitless does play the Void Spirit, Dendi of course does as well. So and in the CIS region, actually, the Void Spirit started out being an offlaner and a 4, much more commonly than a 2 actually in this region, because they really liked it. Really notable players were like Pasha, actually Petushara used to play him a bunch actually in the offlane as well. So it is something that is quite common here, and it remains the flex of the Magnus Void Spirit. Could even be a 4 here if you want to combine it with a PM. I like the draft actually a lot by Bait, though Team Empire went for complete comfort picks. The Invoker by the Prescott, probably his best hero. We talked about Sayu's Tusk, incredible. Literally the hero he got known for. The combo of Tusk, Snapfire hero Vanscore has been playing a lot recently to replace the old Rubik he used to play. This is his impactful 5 of choice now that Rubik can't be played as a 5 anymore. The only thing is there's not much of synergy between Empire's draft right now. Don't have any catch to make sure Snapfire and Timbersaw can deal damage, or a combo with Cataclysm, or really anything. They're just good heroes alone.
That's true. That's true. I think like the Tusk Snap Timber work together really nicely in the early game, but I do agree with you. Like once we start getting into more formal team fights, like, you know, what are you going to do against an RP? What are you going to do against a Void Spear kind of jump in your backlines? It's harder to string those things together outside of the lanes. I will say I do like their chase potential a lot. I mean, of course, Timber, once again, dispatches of Enchantress, sorry, no problems here, so it's going to be a bit more, again, of a difficult game for No Fear, especially because of the Aghanim Shard. Gives you great chase potential on the Timber. It's usually, what, like a third item-ish on the Timber Saw, assuming he's having a pretty decent game. Versus a PA, it's not the hardest of lanes for him. Does need to be a little bit careful because the Eng can always slow him to a crawl and put him in a bit of a weak spot if he doesn't have enough points in the Timber chain.
Yeah, but you're fine.
Yeah.
You win that lane like 9 times out of 10. It's a pretty good lane for Timber. I like the pick. I'm surprised at the Ench pick again.
Me too.
She doesn't do as much against.
I think maybe the Ench pick is just to make sure you can slow the Tusk with Enchant, either with the Enchant or an Enchanted creep like the Centaur Conqueror, to make sure you don't get too much damage out from Tag Team. First Blood potential, though, is really, really insane from Team Empire. I will say, so I'd be a little bit shy of contesting runes right now for bait if I don't get an early level 1 ward down in the mid lane, especially because, I mean, Snapfire, of course, doesn't proc on the Tag Team, but it's a lot of damage regardless, and of course the Blightstone and the Minus Armor do help and get factored into the Tag Team bonus damage.
Oh, that's very true, actually. So that really helps out with the early game harassment, which I think Empire's going for, right? Like strong lanes to counter the Enchanters, and you nullify that pick. Oh, I just talked about this, actually. A pick that No Fear is quite known for, which is Disruptor, but could also go for TSA here, as TSA specializes. I didn't really talk about it too much in the segment, but TSA does specialize in ranged fours very often. So in competitive, he's known for Dark Willow, he's known for the Lion, like that's the heroes he likes playing. So it wouldn't be crazy to see Disruptor. I actually love this bait trap. It's a really solid trap. What happened between last time we saw them and now? These are really solid drafts.
I like this draft. Of course, I like this draft overall. I don't like these 5 heroes picked together because I think they have weaknesses against a certain draft, but Team Empire don't have that draft right now. And so I do agree with you. I think this is a good draft against what Empire have currently. They are very, very shy on casual lockdown, is kind of my concern. Glimpse is always really nice. Void Spirit, it has only enough lockdown for realistically 1 person. Ench in the early game will suffice, but then it's all going to be on this Magnus, which may be in the mid lane still, I think, with this Void Spirit potentially going into the off lane.
You don't think Disruptor also can count as that kind of team fight here with that?
Yeah, but again, I mean, that depends on Team Empire kind of having poor positioning for Disruptor to really shine. He can force it, but only onto 1 person. And this game, it's probably going to be for the Timbersaw or the Troll Warlord.
Hey, we just honestly doing this after the segment feels so informative now. Yeah. The Troll, one of their comfort picks as well for Team Empire. I know they've tried to play it less, like Trolls like their drug, and they go to please, not more Troll. Just one more Troll game, just a cheeky Troll game, okay? And I think it's okay for Team Empire. I just don't see anything from this draft. It's a 4 Protect 1, but with much less synergy than last time. Just strong early, decent mid, Troll wins you the late.
Yeah, I would even dare to say we need to be super fast for Team Empire, because I think, like, if they ever lose momentum from this game, I don't really see how they come back into the game, especially with a Quaswex Invoker, right? He's not really meant... I mean, how many times have we seen a Quaswex Invoker fall behind and then just kind of do nothing until he gets an Ags and casts 1 Cataclysm that also does nothing, and then they lose the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we do need to have a really good start. I think given that, Team Empire do have a really good draft for this. Troll Warlord, I feel like not really going for Battle Fury too much these days. Would prefer something like the Maelstrom, and I think this game with the PA, it's definitely justified. It's an offlane mag, by the way, so it's Dendi taking the Void Spirit into the mid lane versus the Invoker.
Yeah, I think it suits him.
Yeah.
It's not a hero he's unfamiliar with.
But I'm predicting a bait victory here. I think so long as they don't really get caught up, much like last game, how they played last game, as long as they don't get caught up into taking these early, frankly, unnecessary engagements for their lineup, I think the PA is going to be able to carry them pretty easily to a late game victory here, especially because you have really good picks for this Troll Warlord. So even if he does get really fat, Disruptor can kite him out super well, Dendi can kite him out super well, Enchantress to a lesser degree in the early game can do this, Limitless, and of course PA. Like, I think this is a really solid draft from bait.
I almost, like, okay, I'm going to stay on the fence, but I'm going to lean towards the bait side. I do agree that the bait trial is pretty solid, but these are the Timbersaw lane with the Enchantress pickup and the PA, right? In addition to the fact that they have a really easy lineup to execute with a ladder, could mean an Empire victory just off the back of Petushara's Timbers. I would often say that Petushara is the more consistent and most solid player on Empire's team. He makes some incredible plays, and I feel like giving him a hero that can pretty much decide the game like a Timber Saw is quite game-breaking, especially when Fate made no attempt to try to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
You don't really have like a mid-game power
Prepare
spike
for
that will kill
battle.
the Timber Saw. Yeah, Static Storm is nice against him, but if he already has Directive Armor, he'll survive his Static Storm.
That's
It
true.
could be Empires. It could be Empires
true.
depending on Petushar's lane, though.
It is a good Timber game. They've got Dendi to kill him. That's the one thing I would counter with, right? Dendi can
True.
potentially get through those. Well, he can't get through the stacks of reactive armor. I think if he's at full stacks, just tanking the mid waves, like we see a lot of Timbers do in the mid game, I think they
Just let him be.
Yeah, they are going to struggle. But if you can catch him, like, you know, moving from camp to camp, maybe only 5 or 6 stacks on him, I think that's where you go for it. It's that level 15 talent that you actually highlighted, I believe, in our broadcast yesterday that I think is going to put Timbersaw really on the map here. And I think that's Team Empire's best chance. Not to quite end the game, but to definitely take control here. As here we go for first blood. Vanscore is going to kind of bait him around. A lot of level 1 damage, though. Oh my goodness, Dendi with a 5-man Resonant Pulse. There's a big shield there, but it's going to be No Fear dropping first to the likes of Smiley Knight. TSA gets the return kill onto Vanscore. It's going to be a 1-for-1, but of course the first blood bonus going on the way towards the hard carry Troll Warlord. Good start here for Team Empire.
Of course, of course. The Tusk pick actually helps lead level 1 engagements by a lot, you know, so the combination of 5 heroes, even if it's not the best combo with Little Shredder, just a slow is good enough for that, and as we mentioned, the Blightstone. So I think Empire knew what they were doing a bit better in that engagement. It wasn't too bad for Fate either, because they have a lot of area damage, and they end up even getting the bounty rune in the end. Honestly, they should be kind of happy for what happened early. It's not too off. You know what I really like this game actually for the Troll? I actually would like to see that. Dispel of Power, Dispel of Yourself with Thunder. I see a lot of good offensive dispels and defensive dispels. Like this one, for example. I've only had a dispel right now because my Knight is struggling. Vanscore coming in, only with a little Shredder, but Vanscore's like, get out of my lawn! As Fate leaves final.
Yeah, I always love it when like the grandma shows up for like Dota, you know, the Magnus is hitting people with a giant, basically club, you know. Enchantress is yeeting spears around. We've got like a magic man conjuring the weather, you know, and the Disruptor PA is a sick assassin. And then there's just gun for Snapfire.
Yes.
And Sniper.
Especially with the current build, right? Which is, what should I want? Magical cookie that stuns people? Massive shot? No,
yeah.
Gun.
Nope, gun.
Fast gun.
How about Gun Go Burr at level 1 for me? Thank you very much. Yeah.
And it works. I mean, we've seen Lil really abuse that build, particularly with the Javelin. Bottom, yeah, you're right.
Might be dead?
Vanscore
no, he's gonna live.
does not get the final hit on him. Sayu was blocking him as well, making sure that he couldn't quite do that. The reactive armor not coming in level 1 here for Petuchar, instead trying to get more out of the lane with a Timber Chain. Usually his build is better because you have, again, see, more mobility here. But you're vulnerable to ganks like this, and TSA finds the opportunity, connects Kinetic Field, but no! Kinetic Field's incomplete in time, and Petuchar can just get away with a nice little Timber Chain. Very, very close though for TSA.
I think you can just yeet yourself out of Kinetic Field, can't you, with Timber Chain? If I'm not mistaken.
I was assuming because he casted it there, they would just stop you halfway.
Because I assume
so. I mean, that's what I thought too, but now seeing him do that, I thought that, you know, what was the plan otherwise?
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely, actually. Such because second points not in glimpses, I feel like a little bit rare. We're going to be trying to use Kinetic Field here. Could be nice versus the Tusk again, just being able to zone him out, make tag team a little bit more useless. But because the way that Kinetic Field is coded...
Oh, yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah.
What it does is if you try and walk through Kinetic Field, it just sets your movement speed to 0, so you can't walk out of it. But there is that bug where you could be forced out of it backwards with Hurricane Pike.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You can build a tree and get out of it as well if you're in a certain spot, you know? So I feel like for sure Timber Chain can get you out.
I thought that too, but seeing him build it, I was almost certain that it was
I agree.
Stop him,
I
right?
agree completely with you.
Because I'm going to trust the pro player over my own knowledge, but I guess
Same.
no, he was not right indeed. You cannot get, you do get through it. So Timber Chain will save him from Kinetic Field every single time. And that's when we question, as you said, why not Glimpse level 2 to just get the kill potentially, right? I mean, it's very low, really low cast range.
Top lane?
You might as well get it. Yeah, you see an opportunity for Smiling Knight. I don't think you can really kill him. We did go for the Shockwave build in this lane, which I love. Gotcha. This is the build. Limitless, listen to me. I like this much more than the Empower build. I think this is going to have a much more impactful Magnus.
Yeah, and Dendi actually here with the point and dissimulate is managing to dodge a lot of these EMPs. Of course, not only saving his own mana and a bit of his HP pool as well, but mostly it's going to be denying Depress Kit on the refill of mana, as Vanscore will be caught out top lane here by the Shockwave build. It looks like this time around it wasn't actually even a creep. Last time it was the Centaur Conqueror being put to good use here by Vanscore. Sorry, by No Fear that is, but not this time around. TSA getting going on down bottom though.
Good die to the Tusk. Guess Kinetic Field. Maybe this is why he wanted the Kinetic Field, but hasn't used it here. He activates the Fairy Fire to no avail as he falls to Petushara. It was just to cancel a Tusk. That actually makes a lot of sense, actually. Just to try to cancel it. I mean, he didn't do it here, but I can see the logic behind it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Mag top lane, Limitless putting himself in the line of fire to make sure No Fear does not get killed there by Smiling Out and Vanscore. Found himself in a bit of a tough spot. Healing Salve will get him basically to full HP. It will, actually, because not a whole lot of HP on Enchantress to go around.
She gets the... she's kind of food for the Snapfire, to be honest. And for the troll. In fact, even afterwards, if you stack enough fervor, it's just so difficult to stack fervor on the enchanted.
They're gonna try for Dendi in the mid lane. He gets off actually a
nice
pretty good remnant indeed. Is that gonna be enough to save him? Tag team. Oh, okay. The tornado still gets the kill. Tornado still gets the kill. I thought he just maybe saved Dendi there potentially, but the press kid knew how much damage he's got with tornado.
That was pretty good though for them. Bottom lane, they're trying to do the same thing. Petushara, nice Watson. Phantom striking over to the creep wave, but Petushara already has enough stacks of reactive armor. There's little TSA can do to him, and also very close to the trees, by the way. TSA is to be careful. Getting field set up. There we see the timber chain. And
there it is.
Gets himself out.
So it does indeed work.
Does TSA, is he just trying to force the timber chains, or what's...
I guess it's not the most mana intensive ability, and we've already got Soul Ring for Timbersaw. Not to mention, what, you get 10 mana basically back from every single time you use it with the magic stick. So basically, it's only a net deficit of 50 mana for that in exchange for what, like 70 for the disruptor. So that's not something I
you can just spam Thunderstrike, which seems a better ability.
Yeah, that's not something I completely understand here going for the point, but maybe it'll make a little bit more sense as the lanes continue to develop. I mean, it's gotten Tusk out of the lane for now, but he wanted to gank mid anyway, so I'm not really seeing it right now, but I'm looking forward to being proven wrong. As No Fear top lane is eating a cookie. Oh, actually it's Smiling Knight who eats the cookie and then eats No Fear. Some venison for dinner.
Little enchanter skill, always useful early before No Fear can become the 4 enchanters. It seems like No Fear, despite the fact that he's supposed to be the 5 for this team, plays it as a 4 enemy. So it seems like TSA will have to be playing 5 this game, which I think is fine for Fate if they have a plan around it. Watson did decide to go early for the treads, just trying to survive a bit more in the lane. Watson struggling now, Sayud trying to find the ice shards. As tag team only level 1, but is level 3, so he's setting a point. Potential TP cancel, potential more damage as Watson continues to farm. Tushara's like, I'll just kill you, TSA. I'll just kill you, watch me. I have 6 stacks of reactive armor. Now he has a bunch of them more. Tushara is safe forever.
Nicely done. And I guess another reason why I'm a bit surprised to see that second points in kinetic fields. Oh, hold that thought. It's Petushara. He's got plenty of stacks here. 3 points in reactive armor.
He's out of
but he's not gonna. Okay, well he's gonna die if he timber chains 2 feet. That's almost guaranteed. Snowball will save him for now. He's gonna go over to the small camp here. Petushara does continue to regen in the snowball as well as Watson makes the jump. Shards are off the mark though, and he should be dead here. If not to the PA, then definitely to the Thunder Strikes.
That was very close actually. So you did a really good job there. The ice shards were just shy of closing in the PA and ensuring that Petushara can get out of there alive. That was still very difficult, but honestly, just for killing Timbersaw with a disruptor and PA, kudos. That's a win in Eurobook. At least, even if the game doesn't really matter that much. I mean, you are stopping the timber. He is.
Wait, hold on. Vanscore is maybe going to die here to the enchanted creep of No Fear. Yep. All right. Okay. Well, sorry, I saw that one playing out, and you were making a good point. Oh my God, he question marked him.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Oh. Okay.
Sorry, I wasn't seeing that creep killing Vanscore. Wow. I can't believe I caught the end of it. How did that happen?
Don't worry. In case you're like, I don't even have the Dota game tapped into the laning stage because it's boring. Don't worry. I've got a replay here for you.
Oh, please.
Let's go ahead and take another look at that one. The rare laning stage replay. So he was just following him around with the creep because obviously the creep's got like 1400 HP, and he's like, all right, I guess I'll kill you.
I mean, he did die for that. But the creep pretty much killed him alone.
He did, but also, you know, it's not just about the whatever 100 damage and the 1 second stun you do with Hoof Stomp. It's also about the mental damage that you deal to Vanscore with not only the question mark, but then the tip to follow through. As TSA. Oh, really nice shot by Sayu. He dodges Glimpse with Snowball. Nicely done.
Yeah, that was really well done, but that TP, really hopeful, right? Assuming that the Timbersaw wouldn't kill you. Like, even if he hadn't done that great snowball play, I think he would. Yes, Chakra. Level 6 this rhythm. So Empire at least accomplished their goal of putting enough pressure in the bottom lane. Mine has good farm, and I would say the press kit is ready to gank. He just needs the urn charges to set himself up.
Are there any beef? Is there any beef between No Fear and Vanscore you can think of? Is there any lore here?
Bottom tower is under attack.
I don't know. I mean, they have played together.
That's on the side.
That I know of.
Either way, I mean, he's having a fun time poking at Van's score here. We'll see if that continues to pay off for him as the game continues to develop. Watson already into the jungle, having been really just immediately booted from the lane by Petushara. And of course, having the Magnus on the team, even a mag that's not maxing in power, you're still not going to go for the Battle Fury on the PA. It's now actually 4-1-1 here on the mag. So PA is not going to have a huge benefit from these early powers, as no fear is going to be tanking a game. And he goes. 2 earn charges though for Depressed Kid, so he can be super active now, as there's the tip back from Depressed Kid.
That gank is very, very important actually. Being able to get the earn charges for that now allows you to gank
middle
much
tower is under attack.
actually. The cold snap is pretty.
A gift from
And Tushara has recovered. One of the things that Timber's does best is before if you lose the lane, you recover nicely with Chakra. So it's not like you're completely out of the game yet. You can stock great space now.
Sorry, just Smiley Knight farming at the tier 2 tower with a PA just chilling there is a bit of a risky move, but I guess he knows that Mag is too interested in getting the top tier 1 tower, which is so far very healthy. It's only taking 90. Okay, let's just say 75 damage. We'll call it there. It's not. It's 85 damage. It's 85. Final answer. But hasn't taken much damage.
When did you stop taking math?
NA math. About 4 years ago, I want to say.
That's impressive. Cookie, Tushara, going forward. Magnus, the target, the Chakra, not going to find him. Instead, it's Presskid. I mean, he has Cold Snap burn. He's just juggling orbs right now. Do they actually want to fight? No, the Presskid just attacked the creep instead. He's going for the Orchid build as well. The classic Quasmox Invoker build. Which Dendy also loves going.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, Dendy likes going for this one as well. We'll see if he actually imitates the style as well of Dendy and you know, ghost walks around the enemy jungle looking for pickoffs. That's kind of the a bit of an older
the old
style.
way it was built as well.
Yeah.
Like it was just like I want to play Clinks, but Clinks is not available,
but
I'll
you
play Invoker instead.
Actually, very true. I want to play Clinks.
It's so similar because the build-up was also the same, except before you didn't even go for the. No, you did go for the Urn combo. Yeah, it was.
No, yeah, you're totally because it gave you the 1.5, I think back then. It wasn't 1.8 because it got buffed kind of recently because everyone was going Falcon Blade and Ice Frog's like, stop doing this. Build Urn, it's still a good item.
Yeah, people were building Witchblade on the Invoker. It's like, stop! Witchblade is for witches like Puck! Alright, Petushara trying to fight No Fear. Oh, instead they can actually catch up to TSA. There's the MP, kill off TSA. No Fear, at least slowing down Petushara. With the Cookie, they actually combine all the spells there to turn her into a nice little venison.
Is under attack.
Yeah, very nicely done indeed. And that Tornado actually on the mark to have caught Limitless if he wasn't TPing already. Of course, he was already out of dodge by the time that Tornado was going to hit him. Dendy with the haste rune just trying for a kill in mid lane. We've got Cold Snap invoked, but he's going to go ahead and back away after seeing Seiyu. Smiley Knight actually does connect on a root, but we still have a little bit more mobility for Dendy left. He'll be totally okay as he gets a bottle refill, courtesy of TSA, who does actually not refill the bottle. He must have not TP'd from the fountain.
That was the biggest JK guys I have seen in a while for him. Going in to try to kill the press kid and just immediately running off with a haste rune. Like, I guess he's creating space by doing this. I mean, he's not wasting his time too much. Farm is okay. Then he usually plays a very sacrificial build. I think he's gonna let the Magnus take off. Going for a very greedy build.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't farm very well with mech either, compared to going for something like the Echo Saber, or sometimes I want to say Midas on Magnus even. Is not too out of the ordinary, as Petushara, top lane, is going to say hello to Limitless, who skewers him into the kinetic storm, or sorry, into the static storm. A good RP here will keep him locked down, but do they have the damage? Another glimpse here to try and bring him back, but he's just too tanky, man. Petushara, with the Hood of Defiance, easily living, and now there's actually an Invoker coming to gank him.
Petushara was like an anime protagonist on his way to fight the final boss. Nothing could stop him. That was ridiculous. EMP used by the Invoker. They can't catch it to the Magnus. Cast wins.
Oh wow!
Good, but
it's already a full vessel. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's pretty great. But I mean, there's not a big target for the vessel. I'd say that actually you need a vessel for the Timber or something for the Timber, because honestly, he's not even at his power spike anymore. Because the level 15 talent is so major for him. I feel like if you get Sheevers or something, which I'm assuming is your idea. I can't imagine anything else here. Nobody PA is not the best Scotty builder, so I guess Sheeva's eventually on Void Spirit or Magnus.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's going to be enough.
PA likes stats, but she really only wants agi stats, so having the all stats is, although it's like the most whatever stat efficient item in the game, but PA would rather go just for like, I don't know, something else. As once again, TSA breaking smokes here, yeah, damage pretty much for the crits. Seiyu is going to close the gap. There's going to be a pretty easy kill there.
Some people say if you look up in the night sky, you can see Seiyu
Radiant's top
still
tower
flying.
is under attack.
No fear here. Might want to join his teammate apparently. Gets caught by the ice wall there. Pretty well done. No fear. Oh, he wants to fight apparently. They killed the Preskin.
Nice.
In exchange for no fear at least. Vanscore using his ultimate for Watson. Phantom Strike gets Watson away. For now though, as he's been sold out by the Whirling Axis, the Manga's coming in. There's no RP to save him, but the skewer to the low ground. Watson though fights the grandma. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight as the poor man dies together with the Magnus Limitless, having to sacrifice himself as well just for a dead PA, and Dendi stuck in the ice shards. He might need a final victim. He has Astral Step in a second, but he doesn't have time to use it. They'll ensure that Dendi also falls to the might of Team Empire.
Yeah, that was another bait by No Fear. I don't know if you caught that. He ends up dying, but he dies. Okay. The pause.
Mouse.
the quintuple tip. And I'll tell you.
That was 100% a cry break. We get it. No fear. It's no big deal.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they actually ended up tipping him there. So let me just cut this replay here of
because of the
fight
bait that he made. That was impressive.
Yeah, and it was actually from the Centaur Conqueror here. Keep your eyes on this little Centaur Conqueror who's just about to enter the screen from the bottom right here. He's just attack moving here. He's No Fear. There he goes. No Fear playing the possum here. Well, he's about to play possum here. Gets lifted in the tornado, but there's going to be the stomp, and that's what allows him to turn and actually get the kill onto Depressed Kid. So he was probably still kind of happy with that. Unfortunately, it just turns into a terrible fight because Team Empire, they were prepping to invade the jungle anyway. Sorry, invade the triangle, I should specify. So they didn't have an ulti. Their Static Storm was ready, but not a great chance to use it there. There was no RP because we had just used it top lane to try and kill Petuchar, which didn't end up working. So even though the skewer was really nice and the follow-up kill was there, at least onto 2, it still actually ends up turning into a full team wipe in favor of Team Empire.
Yeah, I think that Empire understood their timing's better, even if the mechanics by bait were really solid. Like, I agree with you, that was a really impressive bait now that I say it again. But at the same time, because your PA is just not ready to fight yet compared to the Troll, who's pretty much good to go, honestly, even though he only has Battle Fury. Trolls are naturally strong. PA, she did rush the Desolator this game, of course, because she has a Magnus, so actually not under farm, but until you get BKB, you're a bit too vulnerable, as we saw there. Everything can just kill this woman. So I think Empire understood that better. Well played still by bait, but Empire gets a little bit of a lead with that, and that will enable the Troll to get his next item. Once he gets SNY, I imagine we're going to see a Smiley Knight playing much more.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as much as I love the play from No Fear, especially as this little storyline, the lore continues to develop, as I like to call it, live in this match. You know, we've had the question mark, the all chat question mark, the quintuple tip after the immediate pause, you know. I don't think it's really what bait need to be doing right now. It's like fighting, especially with PA. I think everyone else fighting, especially Dendi, who wants to fight going for the Yule Scepter, right? That makes a lot of sense. If he had gone Ags first, maybe he's not interested in fighting, as No Fear yet again is baiting, this time without the PA nearby. Smiley Knight's going to kick him off. Immediately just takes the free kill here onto the Enchantress. There come the voice lines immediately. Seiyu, though, looking for more as he ends up getting glimpsed back after using the snowball first, but TSA is going to be shot down by the little shredder. So 2 deaths here for bait. Again, and the reason I don't really think they need to be doing this is because I feel like they're playing into the tempo that Team Empire wants right now. I don't really know why they want to fight there regardless, because they were fighting without Mag, fighting next to an enemy tier 1 tower when you've already lost yours, as Petuchar is being a bit annoying versus Magnus. There's no backup here though, so Mag is going to be easily able to leave.
I mean, that's fine at least for bait, right? They're just at least forcing enemy fights and to the TA, as a TA, right? Yeah. I mean, I guess as long as your pay comes online, you're not too worried about this with bait, because you do acknowledge that team fight, or like the window for Empire is what, minute 20 to 30, when they're definitely going to be stronger than you, and then PA comes online and no longer is that window open for you. You can still fight in the late game, mind you. The game is not immediately over, but then PA comes online and there's no longer a stronger draft on Empire side. So as long as bait can withstand those 10 minutes of hell, which is going to be 10 minutes, I think they should be fine. They have good team play to do so.
Agreed. I completely agree. Petushar, he was going to be pushing waves here, cutting waves, pun intended there, until he does get level 15, and then he's going to run at enemies. They're going to try again to kill him. He walks actually into the 8th Remnant, doing them a bit of a favor, but the kinetic field is not set up in time. He's going to be glimpsed back in, but a nicely timed Timber Chain is going to get him away. Petushar, man, back on the J178 days, before the days of the Rona, was not going to go to the ESL LA major. That unfortunately never happened. Hold that thought. Mid lane, Magnus is in trouble. He's going to die. But he's very well known for the Centaur, but also he commends respect on the Timber Saw in case it's not apparent.
It's a really good Timber game. He understands exactly where to draw the line this game. And they just don't, I mean, to be honest, it's a really good Timber game. They have nothing magical demo. The best thing they have is really the Void Spirit. And to be honest, he has a decent amount of magical burst, but not for a hero as tank.
Yeah, I don't believe he's gone for the build. If he wants to kill Timbersaw, he wants to go Orchid or Ags, right?
Yeah,
to get the silences.
He does go for the Ags now, but it's still very difficult. I think actually you need Shard, to be honest, if you want to Shard gives you a bunch more damage on the sim. Maybe in a Veil on this team, it's just so difficult. Your best bet is to honestly ignore him. If he's the last hero on the team fight, he's not going to do much. Once PA has BKB, you won't really need to care about him. He can't burst your supports that easily. Maybe Enchanters.
Dendy's under reward here. He's used both Astral Steps already. They're going to try again for Timber. No?
Okay.
Yes. Okay, they're going to RVE him. All right, they're going to get him.
There we go.
This time he was a bit too aggressive. PA with plenty of damage now. 3 Mythalhammers total on her. 2 in the Desolator, of course, and especially with the Empower now maxed here, so level 4 is significant damage. So Timber, you're tanky, especially to physical damage, but not really to a 4v1 like that.
Yeah, exactly. The Timber has a limitation, right? And now with Lotus Orb, it'll help him against physical damage a bit more, right? Also, the spell always useful, but as the game progresses, the PA should be able to kill you, right? That's why I don't think it's that big a threat. It's important for the early game space he made. He's done his role, and he's performed his job really adamantly, but there's really a point where he falls off. That's just the nature.
Very true, yeah. No Fear is going back to the same build as last game, by the way. He's already got the Dragonlance completed. So he's just looking to be more early damage, and I'm not against it, to be honest, because if he tries to play, well, one, obviously he's not going to go for the mech, considering Limitless already has one, but if he even wanted to play that style, it's a terrible game to do it, because we've got no lack of magic damage. Timber kills you instantly, Troll kills you instantly, Invoker just completely owns you, so at least he's like trying to do something this game, and I commend him for that. It's not going to be easy, because again, he dies to literally everything, especially after the all chat question mark. I think there's a big target on this deer, but you know, he should be able to do some damage at least with this item.
I don't love this game. I didn't go for. Oh wait, actually, there's a fight happening. DSA has Static Storm. He's to use it immediately if he wants to use it. Doesn't want to use it apparently. As Dendy does TP in. I don't think this is a fight you want to take though, Bait.
No, yeah,
But to Shara. He did catch Watson, has a BKB available. Watson will just Phantom Strike. The Magnus walks in though. He didn't get the memo. Limitless. He wasn't aware his team was going to leave. Nice little play there with the Ironwood tree there by Petushara to guarantee the kill on Magnus. Okay, not great here. I'm actually going to say, by the way, that on the Enchanters, I'd love to see Silverist this game, particularly because I got Thunderstrike build. I feel like everything with PA, this game is much more valuable than last one. Last one, okay, it's a nice build. This game, it's hard to understand why you'd rather have your own damage when you're kind of food for the Timber compared to letting the PA destroy what seems to be your game plan.
Yeah, that's a very fair point you bring up, and I think No Fear, he's going to double down, so, you know, again, I'm going to commend him for this, because he's not at least doing halfsies, which doesn't really lead you to do, you know, good at anything. I think Dota, you got to be, I think you got to go all out in Dota, because if you don't, then there's other heroes that do your job better.
Knight, Static Storm.
Got Aegis.
BKB does not. Has Aegis though, yeah. Aegis, I mean, that's Aegis has 2 minutes left on it. I guess if they leave in time and they don't lose anyone, this is a decent win for Bait. Tushara wants to, of course, follow this up. They still have an RP. Using it just for the Timber seems like a waste, but the Magnus also in trouble. Has a mech still to heal back up. But with the Spirit Vessel, he won't heal too much. That's why he's waiting for it. He has to use it towards the end. Not going to be enough healing. That's going to be Limitless dying. In addition to No Fear following him to the grave. Empire taking down the 2 heroes only for an Aegis. Which, again, had 2 minutes. Decent, but definitely not worth your Magnus.
Yeah, it's definitely not worth it even if they RP there, because obviously he was going to live. He recognizes that and doesn't end up wasting it. I actually think that's not that bad. I think losing a tier 2 tower is definitely the worst part about it. They should have been very clear and just, hey, we are going to take Aegis. We are going to run the hell away.
Yes.
Because it looked like they maybe considered trying to get the second life as well and very quickly decided against it. But that split-second decision, or lack of decision, I guess, it kind of, I think, turns that into a bit of a win for Empire, getting that top tier 2 tower. Now they've got a lot of control over the triangle, and even though we do have a late game PA that's got a lot of potential here, as it's a good Sunstrike from Depressed Kid, lots of trees cut down, but not enough mana for Yules. Not enough mana for Yules. A little bit of a mistake there for Petushara to cancel the TP up Dendi. We need space for the PA to farm, and if you give up kills and fights like that that lead into you losing a lot of map control, then the strategy just doesn't work.
I agree, but at the same time, now the PA is finally getting to that point where she will be able to fight the troll head on, right?
True.
So yes, you have lost a fair amount of map control, but not enough for Empire to have completely sentenced the game. I do feel like Bait has a decent comeback mechanic available. Nice team fight, good carry, a good core-to-core matchup, and Petushara, again, he is becoming weaker. Not by much, but weaker enough that there might give there might be a ray of opportunity.
They're baiting Dendi as they will not be able to dispel the smoke. Dendi's going in. We've got to blink on Magnus here as well, but nice micro is going to stop him from actually getting stuck by the Aether Remnant. They will still pull him back in. RP onto 2 for the big surprise. They've got Seiyu as well, so they're not going to have a save in the fight. Still gets up the snowball though. Kiss is raining down on Limitless. He's going to go down the Smiley Knight, but Watson with the BKB onto Vanscore, trying to blow him up, but there's going to be the mech keeping him alive. Smiley Knight and Petushara both trying to focus on Watson, who's going to blink strike on over to Dendi. Phantom Strike, pardon me. Glimpse is going to be used on to the Timbersaw to send him on back, but another Phantom Strike gets Watson into the river, trying to maybe crit down Seiyu, who's trying to hold him down here. Snowball incoming now. Dendi from the side, completely out of, well, actually has good spells and mobility. Watson continuing to try and run it. Seiyu nearly getting chunked there by the impetus shot of No Fear. Another Phantom Strike over to the mid lane for Watson. Does clear him out of trouble, is now perhaps Petushara in the line of fire, but can they kill him is the question, Abo. It seems like they've finally learned his mouse. Mouse? Voice.
That was kind of insane, actually, by Watson, though. What a play! Like, I mean, not just see, TeamSpeak. These are true Dota players, not using Discord like the Zoom. They're true Dota players. I was gonna say that's an incredible fight by Watson. But I gotta commend Dendi as well, or not just Dendi, but the whole team, because they stayed always in enough range of Watson so he could Phantom Strike to them. Very low cooldown spell, and they had a hard time catching up to Watson because of that positioning by them. I think the RP was fine, honestly. Sacrificing your Magnus, which went for a full initiation and utility build, for an Invoker who went a bit more into an impactful build, seems completely fair to me. On the Bait side, it's a good trade. You're giving space to the PA, who's soon to get a Basher, which will make killing the Snapfire, for example, or the Tusk, or whatever, easier. I like that fight by Bait. I think it's a solid fight. Empire, they need to win the next fight if they want to keep their lead.
Yeah, I agree with you. Watson really highlighting the strength of a BKB here, especially when they do kind of lack a BKB piercing catch. Really, it's going to be up to the troll eventually to get a Basher or something online, but even that's going to be delayed because if he wants to kill PA, he's going to have to get that Monkey King bar first, so as we can see that queued up already. So it's not going to be straight into the Basher. Pardon me, like I think Smiley Knight would like to usually build on the Troll Warlord for the independent catch. So yeah, a good fight from Bates. Nice job on the positioning from Phantom Strike. Seiyu buys back as well for that, so it's a 3 for 1, sorry, pardon me, in exchange for only the Magnus.
Exactly, I think that's the kind of plays that honestly Limitless should be making. As long as you can find the Invoker, sacrifice yourself, it's fine. It really isn't that big a deal. Because of the space that you're also giving Dendi here. And the MKB is a fine item for Troll. I don't think he's too sad about deviating for this item, but compared to other heroes, right?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Definitely, yeah.
That said, though, you're right about the match. This would not be the
tower
usual build. It's really just to deal with PA, and the PA with Basher should be able to kill almost everyone except for Timber, maybe. Still godlike.
Yeah, we need probably 2 ultimates at least for Timbersaw to kill him, so which is really just the 2 of them, right? Static Storm and RP is not really much of an ultimate. I guess maybe if Dendi gets both Astral Steps out, he's got a chance, but it's very hopeful. They really need some big ultis, big lockdown on Timber, or just ignore him like they did in that fight.
You know one thing Watson could consider, unless he gets caught out here, as a BKB, so he can still run out. All response for now. RP to cover if they want to counter Nishi with this BKB, and they kill you first. Then a snowball lost Skewer to prevent a troll. Tonic Storm is going to control, but that field not going to come out until later. Smiling at Ori at this BKB. They're trying to kite him for now as DSA gets rid of Pitushara in the backlines. Watson does finish off the supports, but he might die himself to Spirit Vessel. Needs to blur and survive. The Prescott tries to get Sunstrike. Watson goes the right way actually, but his TP's on cooldown. They just want to give him more time so he can survive. Dendi doing the same thing with Smiling Knight. Thanks to the Astral Step, he's gonna live for now as Watson finds the Prescott. The Prescott knows the cold snap. Watson can't do much, just attack him, but has no lifesteal to help him. So that's gonna be Watson falling in the end to the Prescott as Dendi did all of this dancing for nothing. Poor Watson still died. They gave him as much space as possible, but he was caught in a really difficult position there.
Yeah, unfortunately, he thought about running into these trees, but there was a dire creep wave in the way, so he couldn't have just done that because obviously the blur would have been broken. Really, really good catch from Smiling Knight, or sorry, from DePresskid, who very quickly realized that, well, he can't be in the river because we'd scout him with the ward. Must have gone somewhere in this general area.
Yeah.
Almost hit him with a Sunstrike as well.
That was incredible.
Yeah, really nicely done. And of course, shout out to Dendi, who just takes Smiling Knight for a walk.
Seriously,
he took him like all the way over here.
It was awful. Like, I think if Watson had chosen not to fight, what is Timber was going crazy. I thought if Watson just chose to retreat immediately, that would have worked for them, you know? And like, even if Watson had chosen to go just the straight way, essentially, while the BKB was kind of still active, it would have worked fine. But they saw the opportunity with a great RP by Limitless. I think they went for it, and that was just not the right call, whoever made it in the team, right? Because it was so difficult to get Watson out, despite how well they played that fight. Again, good tactic, or sorry, good mechanics, but the tactic better for Empire.
Yeah, I think they were sorely disappointed not to find any big crits in those first 3 auto attacks that he had into the RP. As okay, that was an aggressive Yule Scepter. That was an aggressive Yule's. Who was that? Was that from Dendi? Yeah.
I mean, I think it should be Yules into Ether Remnant and then the Skewer, or the Skewer after the Yules. That was a weird play by the Skewer. A bit too hasty. I mean, Limitless is relatively new to playing at this level of competitive, so it's possible they haven't honed these kind of communication skills. It's fine. They will get better if they stay with the roster, please.
Double smoke.
Okay, they get 8 crits, they commit the RP. Worth it if they kill Represskid. Use the BKB to finish him off. The snowball saves him. He's a Static Storm. Not getting killed as well, but his BKB will save him. Oh, the cookie on top of that. The Represskid's alive. The Invoker didn't fall. Now the counter nation is onto Watson, who can't get away with a Phantom Strike. They can catch up to him relatively easily. The Yule Scepter used with a Sunstrike. The vengeance comes with a punch here from the Prescott. Yelling off his aggressor. TSA in a similar position will also fall. Empire. Wow, what a play there, honestly. Getting away with the Invoker, just literally a sliver of his life. Set you on the Tusk. What a performance by him.
Yeah, that's going to be Aegis now down as well. Sayu somehow lived in that fight, and I say somehow because he dodged the Impetus attack, like it missed. But what the heck could have caused that? Is there a Radiance on someone that I don't know about?
Middle tower is under attack.
Does Tusk have an evasion talent? How did he dodge that attack? There was an Impetus attack that was going to kill him.
High ground?
Radiant's
No, he was in the
middle
river. I don't know. Well, no clue.
I don't know. I'm actually unsure. I didn't see it.
Radiant's
that's
tower
the replay.
is under attack.
We'll take a look at it here in a second, but it's going to be up to high ground here for Team Empire pretty much exactly when they want to, as with Aegis now still with, actually now with the Aghanim Shards, we've got the Rampage ready to be used for Troll Warlord. It's got the same sound cue as Battle Trance, so we'll try and call that out as there is a difference.
No fear. Oh, okay. They bring back the Timber Saw.
They broke
this
him.
time they have the Phantom Knives, actually. A good way to deal with the Timber Saw. However, they can just keep him at bay. They use the Rampage for this, by the way, not the Battle Trance.
Yep.
And with the Guardian Greaves, Empire just heals back up. They're fine. Like, they just back off after this. Wait for the next creep wave to push. Stay in the triangle, push mid and top, and dominate these 2 lanes easily.
That was a really good fight from Empire, though, as they pretty much get everything they want out of it. Sayu with a fantastic snowball in. Unfortunately, they probably should have just ended up using Static Storm preemptively there to make sure that anyone that was going to try and save him couldn't use any spells. That was not the case here. Well, so we can't take a look at that because Watson might get jumped here. Has Basher going for the full Abyssal Blade next.
Okay.
But they're going to retreat. Dendi is
it.
under vision.
Power Sponge. That's the best way to control him. And the damage is incredible with that Gimbals. Combo to them. The Troll being the PA by a solid 6k farm makes it really difficult for this core-to-core match. Even if I would usually favor PA, not if there's a whole, what, 9.5 difference, honestly?
Yeah.
And Alacrity, and Solar Crest, which, again, they did not build.
We've got the important item as well for Troller, specifically with that 6k, right? It's the NKB, which makes PA's game very difficult to play. Smiling Knight gets the tier 3 tower, half the HP of the melee barracks before having to reset for another wave. They've got wards here on the low ground, so Bates have vision on Empire, but Empire also have got good wards on the high ground of Bates. Blink and RP is ready. Dendy's back in 10 seconds, as Troll is a little bit hesitant to push up himself, so we'll send Petushara up front first. Intergreaves utilized. He's going to be skewered underneath the tier 4 towers into a static storm. He just enough of damage, though. Watson ready to go, but the Yule Scepter buying him a bit more time. There's the break out from the Fan of Knives. Cookie is going to stun up No Fear as well. Chop him onto him. Not enough damage for him to die, but there's going to be Troll with the splash damage actually getting the kill onto No Fear. Kiss is now raining down to cover the retreat, but there's now a glimpse onto Smiling Knight. Agnum Scepter for Dendy. He's going to silence him once, but he does have now the RP. Catching 3, but there's no follow-up damage immediately. Locking down Van Score. Smiling Knight now out of the battle trance, looking to try and counter-initiate as Dendy holding him down a bit longer, but a good tornado out from the Press Kid prevents the silence from coming through. Another glimpse thanks to the ward for Smiling Knight will secure the first life, sorry.
They have picked up Van Score as well, but in the backlines it seems like Limitless has fallen for this kill, and Watson now trying to jump Smiling Knight. Smiling Knight dealing too much damage that he cannot win in the mano-a-mano against Smiling Knight.
Glimpse of 2.
Now,
they have vision?
They do have glimpse. They will bring back, I think that's Sayu, but the snowball saving it yet again. Someone stops Sayu. This man has literally nullified the Disruptor pick this whole game. And despite a really good RP, I was surprised Watson just wasn't in range as supposed to jump onto them because he didn't do anything in that RP.
Yeah, he didn't really react to it, did he? As I'll try and actually pull up a couple of replays of that because that was quite the fight. We'll go with this one. Yeah, I mean, it was a good initiation this time around. Again, with the Fan of Knives, they got plenty of damage, but the Yule Scepter, not having the Agnum Scepter on the Disruptor means, of course, he can just freely cast his items as normal. Doesn't have the BKB, but doesn't really need it because that 2.5 seconds of basically a damage invulnerability was enough for Team Empire to kind of get a half-decent fight in there. And they almost tried to disengage once, twice, thrice, but brought back all 3 times by the glimpse of TSA. And again, that's these wards really coming into play here that are just kind of chilling by the Bates emblem.
I'll give it to Watson though, that the Fan of Knives there was absolutely... I think that ability is honestly almost got them back. So, because they got rid of pretty much their biggest problem with just Petushara with the Fan of Knives, because it's not just the break, it's also the percentage HP damage that it shows is absolutely timber sauce. I mean, if there's anything that's going to help you bring you back, it's this. However, the problem now is how do you deal with a Troll? It has to be insane initiations by Magnus every single time, or potentially an hacks in the Disruptor, which honestly at this point, just by Shard, like buff your PA. I don't know why she has 0 buffs from coming from team, whereas the Troll has a deal, or has the Alacrity plus the Solar Crest. I get Tornado as a dispel, but I don't think that's enough to justify them.
They must think that Empower is good enough this game. I don't know. Like, I agree with you, right? Because we've got the full Hurricane Pike on No Fear. He's basically out here playing back when position 4 is when, you know, you'd pick Silencer position 4, and his first item was the Force Staff or the Dragonlance, right? He's kind of bringing it back to those days of the Enchantress picks. Consistent in his performance for game number 1. He is dishing out a good amount of damage here, and there's not much else he can be expected to do on the Ench this game with this many counters, but I agree. Why not the Solar Crest? It's cheap.
I feel like you should be much more utility. Like, this Enchantress helps you if you're winning, it can help you if you're losing, right? Because you just don't farm. And at this point, like, No Fear feels like he's stuck and can't do much, because what does he do? You know, he can't build up into further items. Yes, he provides some damage, but as you said, this damage is once you get the ag. That whole combo allows the Enchantress to live. But just the Hurricane Pike.
Dire are scanning.
Compared to the impact of a Solar. So, well, first game I thought it was a good idea. The inflexibility in this game I not love by No Fear, especially when you have a much better...
We are going to be probably looking for another smoke play here from Empire. Although, will we? Roshan is in that 3-minute window, or sorry, 2-minute window where you're not sure how long it's going to be. So another 2 to 5 minutes until Roshan is back. Normally teams, won't really go for full 5-man smokes during this period. Team Empire are not one of those teams, as they will smoke as 4 and maybe try and make a play, surprising Bates, getting them on the back foot. Dendy with a really good position here to be held, but I don't believe TSA will be as lucky, as he's looking to try and set up some vision. Sayu has vision of No Fear, trying to jump in. That's Untouchable, making the animation a bit difficult, but yeah, they've got plenty of damage for him. Not a great smoke.
You lost. I mean, you've already in a really difficult position if you've.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's
Nothing.
structures are fortified.
Unless they can see a Magnus here for free.
Oops.
Okay, Tusk has the snowball, obviously, so never gonna complete. They use the Rampage. Oh, I'm not really sure why, but there's that Limitless. Cut the lane, you could argue.
Yeah, space. It's space for Watson, who's queued up 4 Divine Rapiers, because that's kind of what they need to get back into this game at this stage. Down 23k. They just need damage. Absolutely. They just need damage, and they need to get lucky on these crits, and they need Watson to capitalize off of the pretty good RPs that Limitless has been able to get these games. The RPs themselves have been well utilized, as in he's catching the right heroes. The question is, are Bait all on the same page about when this RP is going to happen, who to target, is Watson in range, etc., etc.? That seems to me more the issue, but actually, Limitless without buyback is not going to be around here to defend these barracks.
No,
Radiant's
try
bottom
to
tower is under attack.
break the tier 3 first here.
Courier
In the
has
bottom
been
lane, and without
Radiant's bottom
Limitless, and
tower
actually without
is falling.
Watson as well, that's just gonna be Mega Creeps.
Yeah, it's going to be Megas for sure, but that's Divine Rapier now for the PA, so it's something.
Yeah.
The Dire now have victory.
Okay, that's the last objective. Like, they don't need to wait for anything any longer. The Makers will do the job for them. And now cutting lanes is super difficult. I was gonna suggest the PA Ags maybe, you know, because that would help you cut lanes, but not anymore. Not with Meg.
Dire's middle tower.
Not with
is
Megas,
under
absolutely.
attack.
And I feel like not with the amount of jump they have, Invoker could just kind of ghost walk up to you. Win it for Shivas. He's going to be going for the Sheepstick next, though, and I think that's going to be the killing blow here to Bait if it doesn't happen off of a team fight. They do find themselves now on the back foot. Second Roshan going to be taking a little while to respawn, just 1 more minute necessary. We'll have Aegis, of course, Cheese, and that Aghanim's Shard, if I'm not mistaken. Or is this third Roche? This is third Roche, thank you.
Oh, no,
Debbie.
No. The Troll Warlord, the go in, Snowball. And he activates the Battle Trance. He wants to survive this. Watson actually dealt a fair amount of damage here. Again, the Makers are pushing into the base, and Limitless just walked in here with an odd skewer. I guess trying to get some more space for his team, but that didn't work out. He just
Radiant's
lost his
middle
life there,
tower
Limitless.
is under attack.
Yeah, Seiyu was literally winning them this game. That was a game-saving, not really game-winning, but a game-saving snowball. Smiling Knight gets the time, not being perma-stunned, to actually activate the BKB, and then just Battle Trance and completely turn that one on its head. Now they're just going to wait for Roche, which is up in 10 seconds. Aegis, Cheese, and either a Refresher Shard or an Aghanim's Blessing. I think Ag's Blessing, and the game's just over. Troll's going to be way too damn strong with that Dispel.
Double check that I'm not.
Watson's trying to snipe Vanscore, but he's got a Ghost Scepter. That's Divine Rapier that's been scouted. There's no BKB for 25 seconds. He's just perma-dashed and dead. That should be GG,
Here we go.
as they call it. And there's the tip on an Ophir.
The way to finish the game. I'm not sure about that game, honestly. I think that, I mean, the ending was very anticlimactic in general for...
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it. Ask me how we got here, 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries as we'll fall now. Let's take it slow, where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it. days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And then we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it. Slow, who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. You say I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning. You wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you'll break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came. I stopped asking for forgiveness, cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone, so save your judgment cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break, swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came.
I'm crawling around, searching for higher ground. Can't see in front of me, my enemies. I've tried every possibility, ability to know if I can bleed. If that's what you wanted, you won't get it tonight. 'Cause I can fly. Can fly. I'm crawling around, searching for higher ground. Can't see in front of me, my enemies. I've tried every possibility, ability to know if I can bleed. If that's what you wanted, you won't get it tonight. 'Cause I can fly, I can fly. I can fly.
Radiant team ban.
Ready? Okay. Done. Okay. Do a short intro and I'll throw it to you. Welcome back everyone, DTN2 returns with our third and final game between Team Empire and Bait. Bait with a good game one, a long one, but a good game one that led them to a victory as Team Empire will strike back, the Troll being able to beat the PA of Watson. All down to this one. But first, we do want to bring you guys the fixture for the rest of the week, of course, as we are kicking off week number 4 of total 6, I want to say here in the lower division. So a lot of dreams are going to be made or broken this week, as of course this is going to be the team's final opportunities to try and get into those TI qualifiers, which have no opens this year. To bring you guys that information, we have our stats man, Abo Stats, who is going to bring you all up to date with the matches we've got for this week.
Hello guys, this is the schedule for the week. As you know, it's Monday Fun Day, only lower division today, but the rest of the days, if you're ever waiting on CIS upper division or EU or Western European upper division, it's a nice thing to just check us out here. Best way, of course, to follow us, just to give us a follow, or you can come here during the following days. Thursday, we're here from 12 to 6 p.m. CST, 1 hour earlier if you're from the UK, 1 hour later if you're in Russia, 6 hours later if you're in Malaysia. We're starting with Trident Clan versus Fantastic 5, one of the last chances Trident Clan has of getting any points. And then joining by Team Empire versus No Techies, seeing if No Techies has recovered after the win against Trident Clan and can actually win some games against some of the stronger opponents. The Friday game, also at 12 CEST, 12 noon of course, is the best game probably to watch during the whole week, as both Hellraiser and Nemiga have been looking quite strong. They're actually competing for the top 2 spots, but Nemiga did struggle to beat, or actually couldn't beat Empire. However, recovered against Prostiesli, now without a stand-in, they are looking stronger and maybe could take game of Hellraisers, who have remained undefeated until now. And finally on Sunday, we're going to see if Prostiesli, who has been going down for a while, is capable of beating Trident Clan and continue cementing their victory streak, as Trident Clan is trying to cement their own defeat streak, or if Trident Clan can recover as they're looking for, and beat No Techies in terms of points. Check us out on these days if you want to enjoy some more lower division Dota for the Eastern European division, and let's get on with the draft.
Indeed, draft now underway. We can see the opening picks already through. We're going to go back actually to the Enchantress. However, this time it's not No Fear. It's going to be most likely Vanscore on the Enchantress this time around. We'll see if he's as aggressive as No Fear was in game number 2. No Fear, of course, dropping the question mark all chat, which may have raised some tempers here over on the side of Team Empire. Regardless, Team Empire did prevail on that game number 2 and, of course, tipped No Fear to cap it off. Definitely didn't hero this time around. As we'll see the Watson Gyro get brought through. Limitless on the Centaur, of course, is going to be one of the most seen heroes this time around. Actually, Centaur, I believe he's just shy of Lion, who is picked or banned almost in every single draft in every single DPC region, both lower and upper division accounted for there. Juggernaut for Empire, pairing it with the Enchantress, bringing you a slow, which is one of the best level 1 slows in the game, along with the Blade Fury to potentially get some kills, even against a tanky hero like the Centaur. Not so likely, I should say, at level 1, but perhaps at level 3 with level 2 Blade Fury and beyond, you might see Limitless play a little bit more safe, keeping in mind that he could always get jumped by the Jug.
Surprised they steal the Smiley that pick there, but I think mainly to deal with it. In this game, you just don't want Pitushara to destroy. I think that. I'm surprised actually Empire went for the Van. No, Vanscore's not. I like his enchant. Is it really that highly valued?
I'm surprised by this as well. I think Enchantress, like, she's annoying to deal with, but like the biggest way to counter Ench is in the draft, in my opinion. And when you pick her, especially so early on, first pick overall, especially when the enemies have 2 picks immediately to counter, I feel like you lose a lot of like the benefit that you could bring. It's not like in the same camp as like a Brood Mother, where like obviously picking a Brood first pick is like pretty game losing for sure. It's not like in that camp, but I don't think it's too dissimilar. I think it follows the same logic. And we'll have Bait actually go for the Watson and a Gyro special. Sorry, Watson, Gyro, and Wisp special.
Dire
Alright.
team
I mean,
back.
this is pretty good against Juggernaut because it usually outfarms the Juggernaut. Oh, okay. So then Empire's like, let's go for our double core strat. They've done this a lot in upper division. That's actually all they ran, like a dual core strat where you have 2 win conditions and 2 carries, really. 1 on Smiling Knight and 1 on Depressed Kid. Occasionally they swap this out for the Invoker, but mostly it was this idea of like Morphling or some other that can run carry in the mid lane. Depressed Kid's Morphling is
5
insane. He's really good at the
remaining.
hero, and he's very good against the Io Gyro because you burst down the Io relatively. Not bad. I like the idea here for Empire. It's a good way to mitigate for Timbersaw as well. The thing is, now there's a lot more pressure on your 2 supports and your Timbersaw to do early because you just don't have any that. And I don't know, with Timbersaw being a bit countered this game, it's good enough to be able to get on all that pressure and be able to accomplish his goals? Not sure.
Yeah, I think he's going to find himself struggling a little
10
bit
seconds
for this Morph lane. Especially because you do have a lot of global presence, like you're mentioning with the
5 seconds
Io Gyro. Like, you farm really fast. Io on the support,
Dire
he's
team
kind of
back.
underwhelming if you want to try and play him similarly to he's played as a core. But if you just follow around, if you're just tied to the hip of your carry,
Radiant
bringing him
team
regen
back.
as he needs, and mostly just using overload as soon as you can, you really actually quite rapidly increase the farm that you can take, and even more so on a Gyro, which is why it's still one of the classic combos, you know? Tiny Io has been long dead. CK Io hasn't been a thing since Tether no longer stuns, but this one has
10
prevailed.
seconds remaining.
That's true. This combo, which the Chinese
5
used to
seconds
love,
remaining.
now because they used to, Zhao used to always say that the Westerners played it wrong. Now, not the case. The Westerners are the only one that played this combo because our Dota has actually become slower. The
Radiant
Chinese
team
crazy, insane, chaotic fest that Dota has become for them. Sayu's favorite hero in this league is going to be the Lion, as they pick it up as a last pick. A hero to at least get more pick-off potential. Not bad. Only problem, of course, is not strong lane, so if your lanes lose, he's okay. I guess he's okay as a laner. You just need to make sure your lanes go
10
well so you can
seconds
get that
remaining.
mid-game up and going, so the enemy team doesn't run you.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest concern for him this game. Seiyu, though, is very, I mean, at least to me, what always catches my eye on the line that he plays is that he starts off with the boots almost always, and then he just never buys any regen, so he's got always like a 15, 16, 17 minute Blink Dagger on the Lion. Could be really nice this game to have as well, although because you have the Centaur Stampede, it's going to be mitigated somewhat, because even if you're a Frog, you can still actually move at that Stampede move speed, which is a big reason why we're seeing the Centaur picked so much these days. So it's going to be impactful, but it's going to be really up to Team Empire to all jump in along with this Lion. You do have a Timbersaw who can also follow suit and even chase despite the move speed that you get from the Stampede. So it's not all, you know, completely countered, but I do like the pick overall from Team Empire. I think we need a Dendi hero here, don't we, for bait?
You
Templar
may
Assassin.
now select your
Oh, I like
heroes.
this a lot, actually. Okay, this is pretty decent. I mean, Io Gyro can be really greedy, but I guess you can play with Relocate quite aggressively. Does make your draft much greedier, but seeing Empire did the same thing, you might as well. And TA is much faster win condition than Morphling, so if you play around her, solid. As you can just finish the game before online. She's quite great against Juggernaut, deals well with Morphling because she bursts him down. Sometimes struggles with Timber, but that's not the biggest deal, and similar with Lion. Also, once you get BKB, you burst down Lion. Pick.
Yeah,
I don't mind this pick, actually. I think
I also really like the pick. I'm curious as to how the mid lane Morphing is going to play. I think, obviously, Morph not receiving any major changes, but, you know, they did kind of mess with attribute shift yet again. That requires mana to be used. I think this isn't going to be much of a problem at all in the mid lane with the amount of regen that you now get. But more of my concern is it's not really your fast... I mean, even if it is a fast activation hero, he's not aggressive in the laning stage, which is, I feel like, what you kind of need to slow down a TA's timings here. And I think if Dendi hits good timings on TA, the game looks really scary for Team Empire, even for Petushara, who was almost unkillable last game.
yeah, that's very true. And I think that's why they also itemized, or they drafted this way. Gyrocopter picking. Almost entirely for that. I mean, I don't think they came into this game with the Io Gyrocopter. I really think they just picked that in the second. What counters Timbersaw, right? We have seen teams try the Monk King before. I didn't love that. I think that was okay, but then in the mid game you still suffer. But the Gyrocopter is the most well-known Timber.
Prepare for battle.
And we're going to see how they get to put it to use this time around. Winner takes all here in this series. Team Empire currently in 3rd, Bait, I believe, down in 5th or 6th. I think they're tied with their 1-2 record with perhaps Fantastic 5. See here if they're going to be able to try and make a run for the upper division promotion. Don't believe it's out of the question for them yet. They would have to take down some pretty difficult opponents, Hellraisers included. But
as long as it's possible. Faith is the last thing you lose.
That's true. Fan score is going to be the first thing that we might lose here for Team Empire, although I'm not sure. Limitless has got a hook stomp. They will connect. Arrow as well out from TSA. First blood for Watson.
Now that's how it's done, kids.
Decent. Watson getting the first blood for Gyrocopter. Actually one of the better carries to give it to because want the lane to go really well. Not to go for Holm is level 1, but that's fine against Timber early. I wonder what build Tushar will go for. Will he try to go for the Timber Chain build yet? I guess because against the Timber, I don't know if he's... I've seen some Timber saws... Gyro, sorry. I've seen some Timber saws actually not even go armor, go for cover in the jump. Because that lane is just wide play it.
The battle begins.
And again, with a Wisp, I think it's not too bad of an option either, to be honest with you, because again, you do farm really quickly with this Wisp. Top lane, Smiling Knight is already cutting down a very nice pathway of trees here. Where Banana, he asks. Wants to return to Monk.
Okay. Not even gonna give that. Another good lane that they have actually is Centaur Mirana lane. I think is pretty solid. I don't like it as much as say honestly at this, but it does give some kill potential, particularly the Enchanters, because you can hoof stomp, set up for the arrow. I'm assuming Smiling Knight will always be able to Blade Fury. You actually hit him with, or almost always. So the stomp plus arrow combo is not too effective, but it should be enough to kill Vance for once or twice. And as long as you're at least disturbing Smiling Knight.
Yeah, Vance were already different from the No Fear build, as he's already started off with one of the components for the Medallion, an item that No Fear didn't consider Game 1 or Game 2. Just a quick note there on see if there's really much of a difference to be made between the two play styles. I think this time around Vanscore might decide to even go for the mechanism, as mid lane Dendi is holding his own so far against the Morph lane.
He's going for the mid. I mean, it's Vanscore. Like, he doesn't play the I'm gonna be the position fight that wins, so he plays the I'm gonna help my core be big and strong. He's like a good class of Milk.
Is that what Milk says to you?
Yeah. Milk does speak to you?
Usually not. No. My Milk is, who knows, maybe it's spoiled, that's why. Seiyu just kind of harassing No Fear, as he's going to try and have a camp spawn, but Seiyu looking like he's not really allowed that to happen. Tushara, Timber Chain here, and the first point in the reactive armor. Is able to pretty easily just kind of walk around here. It's nice dodge by No Fear to not get hit with the Earth Spike from Seiyu. Used that one a couple of times. Now is completely out of mana. Needs to stick around to get level 2 so he can actually afford to stay around in this lane a bit longer and be a bit useful. Press Kid ought to have a bottle coming. Yeah, already a bottle. Even Morph lane mid laners now opting for the bottle with just how much regen it really gives you picking up the bottle in the mid lane. I wonder if Dendi's going to build one as well. He has, actually, for the TA.
Makes sense. It's a bit bottle between Char. There is the reactive armor level 2 now, so he wants to tank out Watson. Watson, I'm assuming, yeah, he's gonna go for the Rocket Barrage build. Push Petushar in the lane, there we go. Now you Rocket Barrage, this is the play. Petushar struggles against this, he has to get away. I'm assuming Petushar might consider like an early bracer or something, and then immediately into the hood, or just rush the hood, depending on how bad he thinks. Because with Eternal Healing from No Fear as well, because it gives him so much mana, you're always gonna have mana for Rocket Barrage. Which is the Petushar's bait in here.
Exactly, that's a really good pull by Seiyu. I'm not really sure how he got it. It looked like No Fear actually contested him correctly to try and block the pull, but didn't end up working out. Yeah, plus we always have just almost perma-stick here in this lane. No Fear as well. Watson has already got 10-stick charge, got a big stick on the gyro. As Limitless is going first item into the Hood of Defiance, he's not considering anything else. Press Kid just being as efficient as possible here with the Water Rune and his 2 bottle sips back to full HP, just like OS Frog intended. Yeah, it's fully healing as well. Headdress to start off with here for No Fear, so he's just here to make sure he heals Watson. I think this is like his punishment for game 1 and 2 for not building any support items. They're like, now you have to build only support items because we're going to make you play Wisp. Hero doesn't do much else on the support role.
That's very true, actually. Maybe he's just a dunce corner.
No, he must atone.
At the wall. He must atone for his sins of playing episode 3. Maybe. They gotta trust No Fear again. We've seen this combo before, but it failed for them, by the way. So I don't know. Well, we'll see if this time it works out for them. I feel like the response by Empire was good enough here with
the press kid with just a quick little adaptive strike into the strength to deny Dendi a bottle refill.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty solid. But still, he is... Like, the lane is going considerably well for the TA. Morphling is okay against TA. Bottom lane, by the way, we see Petushara stuck in the Rocket Barrage zone. We have Magic Stick, so Watson could follow up. But Sayu being nearby deters him from doing so. Honestly, for being this lane, Petushara is quite happy. He's, what, 90 last hits? Watson has 25. Kind of even.
Yeah, good start.
Considering this good matchup for Jar.
Lane will get even easier when he has boots as well, so he doesn't only have to rely on having the Timber Chain to get him out of dodge. Full stop, baited out by Limitless, who's currently getting body blocked by Smiling Knight with a level 2 spin. Still not enough damage. Arrow is going to prevent anyone from chasing further. Not like they were intending on diving that tier 1 tower anyway, but in case they thought about it. As TSA is immediately going into the urn, almost has enough gold for it here, just needs to arrow one more creep. You should probably head mid lane and make sure Morphling can't push TA's tower though, and just arrow the wagon. A very balanced thing that's still in the game for some reason. Can't enchant creep wagons anymore. You can't even wholly persuade them or use Helm of the Dominator 2 on them, whatever it's called now. But you can arrow them and instantly kill them. I don't understand the logic.
Can you imagine Helm of the Dominator 3 now? What is it? Helm of the Super Overlord. That allows it to take catapults. Sayu. Die here easily.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Petushara, we have a Rocket Barrage again available with the Magic Stick, so I don't know if Petushara wants to come in here. Watson will have enough mana for even 2 Rocket Barrages. You still don't have your hood.
Is under attack.
Yeah, Limitless is just playing like a bristleback now, just trying to cut the waves here with the Ring of Health. Not really much Vanscore can do.
Presskid almost died actually to the... Then he has so many traps set up that Sayu, yeah, he's gonna start ticking down. No, that trap wasn't set up for long enough, but the damage actually annoying the Morphling a bunch, forcing him to constantly attribute shift. Expecting Dendi to be laying down traps all the time. The press kit gets rid of him. Back to the high ground you go. Instead takes the illusion room for himself. The bottom lane, Petushara, yes, the Holm missile might hit. Rocket Barrage available in a second. Petushara used his last little Timber Chain. There's a Rocket Barrage not fully damaging him here, as Petushara can't get away with that Timber Chain towards the end. He has enough tank now to survive.
Yeah, they might try and enchant TSA, forcing out the leap charge. He's got one more. I think they probably timed these, but not well enough. As Jug still chasing with the phase boots quite fast. TSA not fast enough without the boots. Fairy Fire, not enough healing. He will drop as the combo finally ends up getting killed. It's not against the Centaur, but they'll take it nonetheless.
All right, that's a kill at least, you know. Empire, this top lane was not going too badly for them to begin with, so I think it's just like plus as far as they're concerned. It seems like Smiling Knight is not going to go for Battle Fury immediately though, going for Yasha for build that will allow him to fight around Morphling's timing as well, maybe to speed up the game. We'll see how this works out for them. The press kit is certainly, like, he hasn't cancelled Dendi whatsoever, and Dendi has a pretty free game as...
Yeah, for sure. Last pick TA, I think it was a good one. And Dendi, of course, with over 2,000 professional games of Dota, has played a couple of TA games. And in fact, he's Master Tier, so he even plays it in his pubs, enjoys the hero quite a bit.
Is under attack.
He likes playing Dota.
Not.
I think that's a safe assumption to make.
I think most heroes, for Dendi, like, how many heroes do you think?
Oh, interesting, actually. I just failed to... I neglected to mention this earlier, but the Mirana, of course, having the arrow makes Vanscore's game a bit more difficult to play, because you can just arrow and insta-kill the big creep that he brings over for you, free gold. So Vanscore, I think that's the first creep I've actually seen him enchant. Normally, he's been using it aggressively to try and set up for kills with the spin, but
is under attack.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. Again, that's another weakness of first picking the Enchantress. You can very easily counter it with just a support pick, as Dendi will deny the haste turn away from the Morphling. Nice play there.
do have a little bit of a chuck for Tushara. Watson continuing this with the Rocket Barrage. Got him. Watson, though, low on HP, has a Fairy Fire. However, Vanscore joined in as well. Impetus can only really launch one for now. And it seems like Watson will be able to get out of here alive. The top lane, we see Omni Slash for the Centaur. It was at the help of the Mirana, nothing to actually mitigate damage. The
That's going to connect onto the Press Kid.
With the meld, they'll be able to finish off the Press Kid, and that's going to be 2 kills going the way of Bait, 1 kill going with a way of Empire. Action in all lanes.
Yeah, action on all lanes, which is pretty normal, especially when you end up making a rotation anywhere. They scouted Seiyu bottom. They saw Vanscore as well, was not present, so they make the play bottom. They react top lane, but Bates, bringing the numbers mid lane, are able to get a surprise arrow there onto the Morph lane. Nice pick off there. He's going for stats, by the way. First item Dragonlance so far for the Morph lane.
Okay, I mean, I like the kind of hybridish build of Morph lane.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. Might even be able to turn here onto Petushara. The Timber Chain doesn't put him that far away. Spirits are connected as well, trying to turn with a Chakram damage, but No Fear's got too much healing. Eventually will fall to the likes of Vanscore's creep. I think that was a boulder hurled his way. They tried to relocate it out in time, but that's a very lengthy delay at level 1, and they weren't able to get him out safely.
I mean, he still got the kill there in the end, and he got the experience out of it, so I don't think it's too bad for Bait. But yeah, of course, losing your gyrocopter. The thing about Bait, it seems like Watson acknowledges that he doesn't need to be the sole win condition in this game, allowing Dendi to be even more impactful that way. But still going bottom, despite the fact that everyone is fighting him, right? You haven't seen him TP to his triangle yet to try to go for the safe farm, leaving that instead for the TA, which I like. I think this helps a lot Bait's position in this mid game, because they're canceling the main Space Creator, which is Timbersaw, and they'll have their own, I guess, hero or even Space Creator, which is going to be
and the TA already up to level 10 after the kill. Quite an advantage over the Morphling middle. Dendi is opting to go for the Blink Dagger first on the Templar Assassin. Do we have any big stacks for him? Looks like Ancients are stacked quite a bit, and he's got traps down to stack them another time if he wants to. He'll be able to clear those relatively easily. That's going to definitely give him Blink Dagger. I just don't know if he's going to be able to farm it, especially without Side Blades being maxed. So he's probably going to farm a couple more small camps before he turns around for that. TSA is going to prevent any push bottom as he arrows the wagon, and you can see immediately Seiyu's like, yep, I'm out of here. Turns the arrow up north. Nah, just kidding. Now has the Finger of Death, level 6. Would be a good target here for the Mirana. Tushara is going to scare her away a little bit too early, so we're going to have to look elsewhere for a finger kill.
So you sad. Wants to find literally the first thing that just comes near him, right? Like, he just wants to kill something to make sure that Empire doesn't have to rely solely on the Timber early. Smiling Knight might have to fulfill that role with, very interesting, but Smiling Knight, he actually just broke his healing ward. That was the Stampede was for.
Yeah.
And he TP's thinking that must be coming for me. Now they're relocated. He cancels TP. Smiling Knight thought he could be efficient. Instead, the efficiency ended up killing the Smiling Knight as Empire lose their carry because he canceled.
They're setting up though. They're setting up on the relocate. Morphling's coming, Petushara's coming. They're all coming to try and cancel.
Oh no, it's both. That's a huge mistake here by Watson. Or maybe by No Fear. Should have broken the tether there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the vision there. Vanscore was able to scout out where they relocated from thanks to the ward placement. They're going to get a 2-for-1 there, so they'll lose their core, but at least they do get something in return. As you can see the circle there indicating that Watson's like, yep, they got a ward here, by the way. Nicely done. Petushara probably didn't need to join there. Probably should have instead spent his time pushing the bottom tower, but he can do so now. Not a huge loss of time, as they will lose their tier 1 top lane in exchange. Mid, Dendi. It's got a haste. Arrow's gonna just miss both Seiyu and Depressed Kid. I think Dendi's gonna almost finish up his Desolator here already. Wow, he's very rich, actually. That was him farming the big Ancient stack. That's where that money came from. Nice gold injection.
Dendi's doing really well. I mean, this is the standard timing for this combo is Vanscore's bottom lane. Oh, he's slowing down Watson. He knows what he wants. There's no relocate available. On his slash, trying to divide it between them. No Fear tries to take the Juggernaut with him, and he does succeed. No Fear gets away with a tether. Okay, good positioning. That was really well played by No Fear. I thought they were dead to the Omni there.
Really, really nicely done. He split it once, but then he didn't move far enough away, so it jumped back to the gyro. So he jumped back a second time. So yeah, really, really good position in there. And very tanky. Wisp is a very tanky hero. He's a strength hero, and plenty of regen on him as well to start off with. as he will bring the gyro on over the mid lane, where they're trying to get this tier 1 tower, maybe force a kill onto the Prescott as well, as they do not snap the tether. Arrow's going to connect. They're going to close the gap now. Dendy right in the face of Morphling. Hooks down to Prescott. Stampede utilized there as well to close the gap. Big Mac kill puts not Watson and No Fear up to full HP, but Smiley Knight with level 4 spin, trying to get this kill onto Watson. No Fear though with too much healing, handling the relocate, getting them out just in the nick of time, as TSA has been left behind. Dendy and Limitless though will be able to clean up Seiyu, and this time they're not going to be able to set up here on the relocating Wisp.
Wisp
As
gyro,
he is going to return, yeah, this time with the gyro, not into his death.
Oh,
another ultimate used.
Stop, catching the Timber. Arrow as well. Timber stop. Mr. Shara can't move away, and they just murder him in cold blood. They also took the tower mid. Honestly, well played by Bait. That was a really good initiation. No Fear on this IO is styling, straight up.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice sequence of events out from Bates. Just a great fight.
I wanted to point out there's a really good earn by TSA, which calculated exactly when the IO wasn't being hit, and then earned the IO, which just barely kept the gyro alive. Even though it wasn't the most efficient thing, because you actually only get 0.8 of the tether of the earned heal. Seeing as IO could actually move around a bit more freely, the Gyrocopter, which was the main target, allowed the earn not to be dispelled, and is what barely kept Watson in the game. Really well played there by TSA on top of that.
I think it's is level 2 tether 0.9 or is it still 0.8?
It's 0.8. It's 0.8.
Okay. Yeah, that was a pretty big nerf to the support Wisp, not being able to provide 1.0 of your healing. Instead, it gets.
It used to be 2 times every single level, right? It used 2 times.
You would actually, back when you would level stats, you would max tether last even after stats, because there's just no point really.
Yeah, after they took the stun away, right? Because the beginning stun was the OP, and they were you were like, actually, who cares about that? I think it was the game.
Courier has been killed.
They killed this Melin Courier, not bad. But the Empire looking to kill something a bit juicy. IO gyro combo.
It's just such a hard kill right now, especially with the mechanism that we have up now on No Fear. Just that amount of burst healing. It's like having a Chen plus one. He's kind of going for, I believe, the Whisper method of playing Wisp, just max healing. I think it's almost the exact same build, to be honest.
Like reverse bingo, if you mentioned this.
No, you don't, because really it's the only reason. I mean, you've said this build to me like 3 or 4 times. Now I'm just like regurgitating it, you know.
Oh, okay.
But Whisper actually sometimes will go for like double tranquil boots on a support Wisp in his pubs, but this is usually what he tries to win with. Infused range ups out, notwithstanding, of course. But first item mechanism, they're relocating bottom, where they have Smiley Knight trapped, but are not able to kill him. He just TPs away in time. Sorry? Am I? They'll leave Gyro behind this time. I don't know. The guide I see always says whispers Wisp.
I just haven't seen him in the.
Dire's bottom
On the
tower
was
is
completely
under
under Prescott,
attack.
by the way. Talking about more itemization as Juggernaut's getting close to the Fusion Blade. Build back in action. I missed this build, the Fusion Blade Manta style. It was a classic for the longest time on Jug, because it wasn't even that good a build. It was just, as pros would say, Jug is good, but no build is really that good on him. So this is the closest thing we got to a DD.
He does so much damage. His DD is so rich. He's going to be the first one to break 10k, which is saying something, because he got an IO Gyro that are just farming everything on the map. Aegis now in hand for Dendy. He already has Deso Blink completed. I think earlier, before we got cut off by a fight, you were saying normally a good timing is 14. I think he had this at like 12 minutes, which is absolutely incredible. And with the CD rune, he's going to be looking to kill anyone that he can. Empire will do well to stay out of his way for the next couple of seconds.
Alright, well, with a nice lead on Fate, what they need to do now is just keep forcing fight with Dendy. That's what they've been accomplishing this now. I don't think that Empire can just let the towers easily either, because they need space to farm for Juggernaut and Morph. Even if it's just Timbersaw that's dying here. And honestly, it's the right play as well, right? But at least you gotta force Timbersaw to kill himself, because if you don't even do that, then you lose the 8 power spike. You still have a fair wind opportunity to Dendy's speed, which is why you're gonna take a chill pill, instead go bottom, defend, and he didn't find a kill on the Juggernaut, who stayed here a bit too long, and comes Dendy, but a beautiful Earth Spike there. Might give Smiley the time he needs. He doesn't have his DP in time though, so instead he's just gonna fall immediately to Watson. Dendy, look at that, setting up the kill for Watson, so his carry can farm too.
Nicely done. Yeah, and then immediately Watson and No Fear back up to the top lane where they're going to have to wait for a camp to respawn. Unfortunately, they've already cleared everything here. Actually, it's been Petushara who's cleared everything, but not to worry. There's a full creep wave for Watson to just eat up, and this is going to give him just shy of enough money for the Aghanim Scepter. So it's going to be an 18-minute Ags Maelstrom for the Gyrocopter, most likely next into BKB, and then he's really just going to be quite the beast. Fendi, I believe, is going to go BKB with that Mithril Hammer. I can't imagine he'd turn it into a Basher, but we'll see. As Petushara is taking just a bit of harass. Holm Missile is going to close the gap. Leave him A-OK underneath the tier 2 tower. We don't have Stampede. In fact, we don't have any ultimates right now for bait. But if they just walk up the cliff, they might go for the kill. Dendi clears the corridor. Petushara that actually had the full Hooded Defiance. Sorry, the Vanguard on it. So Timbersaw without the Ring of Health. As a quick little D ward there, Arrow is going to just barely skip through a couple of heroes there. The Press Kid, unfortunately, now with Manta Style, not really able to make anything of the Invis Rune like he would have wanted to, thanks to the Sentry Wards that Fate have placed down, and it looks like they're going to make a play for the tier 2 tower.
Yeah, just take a tier 2, take over the entire jungle. I mean, that's the better jungle on Arrow. Find the Timbersaw for free. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Force the Timbersaw to do these plays. They're still the right plays at Petushara, because the Space Maid is a necessity. I mean, maybe if they want to fight, definitely that wasn't the right play, right? If they want to fight, Petushara should be alive for this. I thought they were just going to let this fall. Apparently not. Oh, stop. Catches 2. Can they kill the Marshal in time? Yes, they do! Omni/use, but it's going to be dividing among 4. Not that much damage for Swan Knight just yet. So Yu has the Finger of Death, but nothing is low enough for him to actually blow it up. Press Kid did get blowed up instead, though. That was a beautiful stop there by Limitless. What a Centaur player.
Yeah, seriously, really just kind of stomping on this game, and Spade are snowballing kind of out of control at this stage. That's your mid lane Morphlane, who is not going for the shotgun build this game, obviously because it's kind of countered by the Wisp, having the burst healing especially, but they're falling apart, right, at the seams here to Bait. Fendi is about to finish off BKB, but the rest of his team continuing to just push aggressively and removing farm that Smiling Knight is able to actually take over. They block the stack. He comes back to farm this. He's going to find himself in some trouble. Actually went for the Diffusal Blade, like you said, on the Juggernaut, going back into the Manta Style now to try and make something out of this game.
And maybe a more into build, but lacking a farm items. That's enough.
TSA was just literally all by himself. He was like, I'm going to arrow you.
Yeah, it didn't work out for them, but Bait doesn't really care because they took the tower in exchange, right? So you can even argue as making space or whatever. You can justify his plays however you want. The Jug going for this build, his farm is really respectable for this build, and he is mid-game oriented, which has meant that Empire actually has a... Like, their contingency plan comes online within the next 2. It's nice, right? So at least you'll have that, and you'll be able to at least take 1 or 2 fights. But the problem is matching the Gyrocopter's farm, the Gyrocopter Io specifically, with a Juggernaut that doesn't have Battle Fury, seems honestly impossible. And Morphling is not really matching his farm either, as the Press Kit is now finally coming online.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Fendi waiting patiently. Now we'll just deal a bit of damage here to Petushara, more than a bit of damage, about half his HP. Before he regens it all up. He's going for the Crimson Guard now on Timbersaw. Just about to finish that one up. Just needs now the recipe, which is a bit expensive, about 1,000 gold. So yeah, they definitely are playing for the mid game here. So they'll have a couple of nice defensive items for them, some good buffs on themselves as well. And of course, a Blink Dagger on our Lion, Solar Crest on Enchantress, and our Morphlane with Manta Style, trying to get this IF Scotty up. Really desperately needs this to counteract all the healing that we have here, thanks to the Wisp.
Tower is under attack.
Relocate. His Aegis expiring on Dendi, but they feel like they know where Smiling Knight is. He's going to now be revealed by the ward, but he's too far gone.
Like, Empire,
wow,
they don't really know what to do right now, honestly. They need to create space, create plays and kill things, but Bait is just taking this time to farm, find the plays that they need to, get the right objectives, have complete map control. What can Empire do but snuggle together in the triangle and pray that they don't get gone on?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Limitless has been scouted moving into this position, so they shouldn't get anything out of here. A good defensive ward placed down, but they're going to lose their outpost. They only have the mid-tier 2 still standing, actually. They've already lost the bottom tier 2 tower. Gyro and Io going through that one relatively quickly. Smiling Knight is going to find a courier for free. That's Limitless' courier down, but he's going to walk right into an Io Gyro. Realizes that he's not very welcome here and is going to TP away. good. That was going to be actually probably the plate mail that Limitless was saving up for. He's going to have to wait a little while longer now. But yeah, I mean, the mid game for your Gyro is going to be pretty nice, especially once he finally finishes up the Manta style. They've got some good burst damage here, thanks to the Manta Diffusal builds. But my biggest concern is that this Morphling has just gotten a decent amount of farm, and now with at least one of the 2 ultimate orbs you need for the Scotty. But until we get that Eye of Scotty up, it's just trivial to kill this Morphling, it seems.
Yep. It's I mean, even with a Scotty, the killing him is not the hard part. The hard part, at least when he has a Scotty, he'll be able to not necessarily survive, but if he goes on you, he'll deal damage, right? Whereas right now, it just seems like Morphling is at the mercy of whatever Bait wants to do with him. Even if he manages to not get caught out first, Bait kills him because he's the hardest hero to kill, but that's, I mean, if he gets away, but he's not really a threat. Juggernaut has been the only threat, as we've seen there, and not even the big one, which has been the problem for them. I feel like the goal for the stats build, though, does give you a lot more reliability when it comes to scaling up, whereas the E-Blade requires kills. The stat build does increase your farming speed every time you get a new item, which E-Blade does decently, but it's based around the kill idea.
They're going to smoke up and look for a fight now down bottom with the haste turn active on Dendi. Dendi, who has, I think, gotten eyes on Smiley Knight. The call to try for the kill, but he's backing up a bit too quickly here. Moonlight Shadow also utilized here. Watson and No Fear just taking this opportunity to farm. We've got now a full S and Y on top of the Aghanim Scepter, and I believe that's going to be the mask. It's not the Morbid Mask, it's what it's called, on the way here for our Gyro, because he's going to be going next item into the Satanic.
All right. Satanic is really, really useful this game. Actually, especially now that you saw the little Montas or the Diffusal Blade build, it's you can purge off the Purge, ironically. Yeah. With the Satanic, which is actually a really useful thing. Not much else that you want to purge off, but obviously the healing here is a general and a good way to keep you alive, because it seems like that is going to be the main damage field. He's playing still towards the late game, where the Gyro takes survives with the IO and will be a guy that just draws all the aggro in the beginning of the fight. You don't deal with Gyro early, you're screwed, but if you also go for reverse, you just Centaur. He does have a help stuff though. Bigger Death Fuse. Oh my god, Dandy just blew up! The poor Lion always has Fuse, but it doesn't deal enough damage. Vanscore will die instead. Has a call that's used by Vanscore, or sorry, by Watson. No, we're trying to heal him as much as he can. They finally killed No Fear, but in exchange, it might be to press Kid's life. Can they blink to him? They do have the ability to do so. Rocket Barrage to try to cancel this poor Centaur, and they actually start to murder him as they use the Whirling Death to finish him off. The Morphling has been stuck thanks to the arrow. Do they have enough damage? Dandy will come in to lay the final damage to kill the Morphling as they try to assassinate here the Timbersaw on top of that. Rocket Barrage with it, but Petushara just a bit too tanky. Watson realizing he has to retreat, has a magic button for mana. So you wants to go for the kill on the TA, as it seems as likely. The Blink Dagger's available in 2 seconds. You could still catch Watson. There we go. Watson divides himself from Dendi. That should give at least Dendi enough space to retreat as Watson. He's just trying to get away. The Timber Chain misses. The whole missile will help him out as well as Dendi lays down traps. Watson will TP and Dendi will reach the safety of his tower.
Yeah, good fights for Bates. They do play that a bit too aggressively. They get the Morphling out of it. But Team Empire now have got some pretty serious damage problems, as we can see. They at least get a couple of kills off the tail end of that fight. But I think had Bates played that a little bit more patiently, they wouldn't even have given those up. And there's a buyback from Seiyu. They're going to go aggressively. 2-man stomp off of Limitless. They nearly burst through Vanscore instantly. Now he's dead. Tushara seems to be the main target. If they'll communicate over to him, use the Stampede to close the gap. Greater Spike yet again. Stuns up Dendi here. Petushara being slapped by the Wisp Spirits. Again, another blink forward from Centaur. Would have probably caught Petushara with a stomp. Just didn't see him in the trees. And it's only going to be Vanscore dropping for the counter-engage on Bait. Roshan is up, though, ready for the taking. So if Bates, which of course have eyes on this thanks to the trap in the pit, can take this, they still put themselves in a very commanding position this game.
You're very right. This Roshan Shard, are you going to give it to the PA? The TA? Because silencing seems really, really useful against the Morphling. No, who's going to take it instead?
It was Dendi.
Oh, it was Dendi. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. I think the silence is going to be crucial. You get this, and oof, I feel like Timbersaw and Morphling now are much easier to kill.
Definitely. It's the same shard as before, wherein it allows you to detonate your traps that also silence.
Yes.
However, whereas before, I think it had a minimum silence time of like 0.3. Now the minimum silence time is 0.1. And now it's significantly increased to 1.5. Arrow is going to catch Shara. Max duration arrow. Here's Gyro relocated in by No Fear, but Shar's still alive. Just barely able to escape. Gets all the buffs onto his team as No Fear is bursted down, so Gyro's going to have to save. They don't have much damage now. The Omnisash got him a half HP. Fendi as well is low on the mana, and actually Bait are going to be retreating here. The Eye of Scotty up for Depressed Kid, really doing packing quite a punch, along with actually the Enchanted Quiver he's got.
I feel like maybe the just jumping it, like just getting together and fighting like that was not the best choice by Bait, right? Because you had the Timber Saw still deals damage to you in an area, so those Morphling, why would you bunch up like that, especially with your Io in the middle of the fray? It doesn't seem necessary entirely. They didn't really have a reference point, and they kind of got surrounded by just trying to fight near that area, which fair enough, you're in the mid lane. Maybe the solution is just not fighting in the mid lane, but it wasn't the best initiation by Bait. Which is why they think they lose their Io. And once you lose your Io, your Gyrocopter is just okay. Like, he's a decent hero, mind you, but you're up against two strong cores, both of which are pretty good against you for the most part. I would say that Juggernaut and Morphling could beat the Gyro in the late, unless your Io's with you.
Yeah, I think a big reason why Beta are able to get away with so much of this is because Gyro's just so rich, right? I think if they make that very exact same play and Gyro's got the exact same farm as, say, the Jug or maybe even the Morphling, I think they still lose that engagement, unfortunately. But that's why the Wisp has other benefits here, as they might even look to poke towards high ground. Dendy's got that BKB ready to go yet again. Aegis still in hand for another 3 minutes. No, 2 minutes, sorry. No, it is 3. I'm wrong. 3. Final answer.
What are you trying, dude? Are you not being able to calculate, or did you forget?
No, I just forgot.
Gyrocopter. The cheese is available for him, so I don't think he's too bothered. I guess Satanic as well. No BKB to go with the Satanic, so it's not a guaranteed Satanic. I guess the side gunner's there.
Wisp has just so much damage, or so much burst healing right now. The opposite of damage. He's got so much anti-damage right now that it's kind of incredible.
Yeah, so good.
Mechanism, of course, buffed 35% by the Holy Locket. Buffed further now that Tether is max. It's a 1.1, I want to say.
No,
multiplication overall.
Not max, it's 3 point. Oh, no, he didn't put the point in the stat talent, you're right.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, I was going to say, because you could cover over the tether thing and see, yeah, level 4. So, yeah, quite the burst healing that you've got. So now it's almost imperative to make sure you can get this Io out of the way first. If he keeps relocating in like he has been as aggressively, that shouldn't be much of a problem for Empire. So I think No Fear ought to be a little bit more reserved in his placements of these relocates.
They can't go in the middle of the team fight unless they catch someone first, right? Like if they did before with the Hoof Stomp Arrow combo, that's fine, right? You kill the Morphling like that with a relocate, sure. But if the team fight doesn't go your way, you have to have a contingency plan. Which is often the issue actually with Bait, that they think, oh, we're just gonna keep winning. But there might be a point where you struggle a bit to get the perfect initiation, that's fine, doesn't make you a bad team. You just need to have something prepared if that happens. Scythe of Vice on TA I think is a good start for this, because it gives you additional catch. Then he already has a bunch of damage, so I don't really think you need the crystals necessarily. I think you're fine right now. You need the extra cash though to set.
Yeah, 14k net worth, 15k net worth lead now does make this a bit easier for Bait. You can see they're playing a pretty clean late game, just kind of choking Team Empire into their base. This is going to be the case at least until this Aegis expires. Then we may see Team Empire try and make some aggressive movements. That Aegis now on its last legs with its last minute now. We'll see if Bates are going to feel pressure to try and make something happen here, because it doesn't look like Team Empire are going to give them much of an opportunity of making themselves open to an attack. It's going to have to be Bait just going into the base. With Stampede, relatively easy to do.
Yeah, you always have a backup plan as well. Just running away, obviously. Vance put up by the arrow. Yeah, that could be a kill if they want to force this. There they go. Hoof Stomp. Bye-bye, Vance.
No buyback.
You lost the Enchantress. Yeah, you're right. No buyback before the 40 seconds down. You can at least keep hitting the racks. The Crimson Guard stops the damage on the Gyro a fair amount, but at least the racks will fall bit by bit.
Aegis is up in 15 seconds now. Let's see if the Empire can do a perfectly timed kill onto Dendy. Again, without Vance Score, they don't seem too willing to go for it.
It's just not worth it, especially because the Gyro's really leading the way, right? Like, Dendy's staying in the backlines intelligently as well. Because, yeah, if you have Aegis, it seems like you might be the one that wants to go up to the high ground, but in this case, Gyro is the tank. He's the constant damage dealer. He's the actual tanky hero out of the two. Then he can just jump in afterwards. He happens to die with Aegis, great. If not, it's just a threat of the Aegis that is already good enough.
Definitely. Dendi already up to level 21. Now has Meld Dispel, so we've got a Dispel as well for Dendi here. Getting rid of probably Solar Crest. Whirling Death is not bad. Not much else he can look to Dispel off of himself this game. The Enchant, I guess, for the slow is usually really annoying, so that's at least some credit there. Team Empire currently playing underneath a bait ward. Should be dewarded, yeah, pretty much instantly here. Smiley not even standing nearby to make sure that it goes. He's actually farmed up quite a bit of gold as well. Nearly has enough for the Eye of Scotty. As bait will make an aggressive smoke play here. The trap silencing up Petushara. Nonetheless, not wanting to make the jump. Instead, they're going to go into the triangle where they see Seiyu, but he gets the blink out in time. The trap only connecting onto Petushara there. Smiley Knight forced to leave the Ancients as that he was farming his band squad, blocking the arrow with the Wild Wing Ripper. In exchange, he's going to be ripped apart by the Rocket Barrage. Petushara got a little bit too close there. They're going to hit him now with the debuff up. The Spirit Vessel caught by the call down. Here's going to be 3 heroes. And there's now a 2-man Earth Spike on from the Lion. Is it enough damage? No, it's not. Smiley Knight with the Omni Slash level 3 is not enough. Dodges one of the auto attacks from Dendi, but the second one is more than enough damage along with Watson. They did at least get the Wisp, but only Petushara is going to be alive after Seiyu buys back. He's going to have to blink in. Gets a nice 2-man Impale. A Hex onto Dendi will not save the life of Petushara, however. That's another buyback here along with Smiley Knight. Will slow Dendi to a crawl, but he's got plenty of stats of Refraction ready to go. Dendi looking to turn. Blink Dagger in 3 seconds along with the Scythe of Fight. Might look to go for it. Lands the Scythe here. Does not get the opportunity to close the gap though. Limitless as well, just barely missing, but it looks like the Black Cannon damage is not going to be enough either. Juggernaut just barely staying alive, retreating into his fountain.
Gun for that Crimson Guard. If Dendi hadn't realized sooner rather, that Smiley Knight was committing a suicidal play, like Dendi has too much respect there for Smiley Knight because he almost got it. Now they turn into a thing. There's the reinitiation with the high gun. It's going to work out for them regardless. Bye-bye Smiley Knight. Vanscore and Seiyu join hands and go to the other side as Petushara. Oh, there's we go. He's not even going to fight. GG is called. Empire will lose game number 3, and we're going to get their second defeat, a second win, meaning both teams are now tied together across the ESL as well, putting themselves very much in the mid-table.
Yeah, huge win for Bait today. They really, really need it.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Ask me how we got here, cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries, let's flow for now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. I drag you out your mind, and there are days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And then we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it. let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. You say I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning. You wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you'll break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came. I stopped asking for forgiveness, cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone, so save your judgment cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break, swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change.